Hi, and welcome back to Angels in the Library. As you guys know, everything on our channel is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. But
Mhm.
on tonight's episode, we thought it was very clear that we needed to speak on the Cassie and the Diddy situation, right?
Yeah,
So,
unfortunately.
unfortunately,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, we've been left to have to speak on this. Um, I think so far let's just get into, I guess we'll talk about Cassie first. Well, first thing about this is it's a case from the US, right? So this isn't
hmm
Cassie necessarily pressing charges, but she's been subpoenaed to court
By the U.S.
by the US. So it's serious business.
But why did they say that? How did the U.S. pick up the case
I
instead
have
of
no
directly from
idea.
her?
What do you say?
Instead of directly from her.
I have no idea. I don't know who put this into being a RICO. And I think that's why people are confused, and people that I think are more defending Diddy are coming from the place of, does this prove he's trafficking? Does this prove that he's a criminal enterprise? Um,
Mm.
I think these are the things about it. So, first and foremost, we all know Diddy's a monster. I mean, this isn't like new information. I think people thought the case was going to get even like more crazy stuff because there's been so
hmm
many rumors of Diddy that, like, I mean, we was waiting for more, I think even more crazy stuff. Maybe more stuff is going to be shown, but I think everybody just knows that. So far in court, I think it's going to be an 8-week trial. So far, Cassie has
Wow.
testified. Yeah, it's going to be 8-week trial. I don't know who's all going to show up. How many people showing up to testify?
Yeah, I'm thinking 2 weeks. Like next week. Well, this would be the second week. Like they'll be
Yeah,
wrapping it up. So there's more
it's
testimonies.
going to go all summer long. They're having a bad tour.
Literally, this is terrible. I'm honestly ready. I want them to just come to
Come
a
with the verdict.
conclusion.
Yeah, it comes to a
Yeah.
conclusion. I think the next aspect is, with Cassie, who is Gabriel, is Drika's family. A lot of Drika's family is a part of this case.
Like, don't blast me.
I'm like, don't think Drika's done any of this type of mess because she's Gabriel and Cassie's Gabriel. Drika hasn't been in no mess.
I'm
So
supporting my family, but yeah, it's
I
crazy.
I definitely feel like Will Smith's feeling good because she's taken to be now the title of most flunked in the family.
Oh, yeah. He's getting some leeway. You know
Yeah,
what? That's so crazy because I totally forgot about Will. So you're right.
right. For a
Took the
while,
heat off of him
Will Smith was like the face of like flunked out Gabriel, right?
more.
So I think at least now Cassie has given Will a break.
So
She's
she's
letting
everybody's taking turns. Who's gonna
everybody's
be
taking
next? I'm
turns to get
scared.
roasted. Um, I think when we come to Cassie, there's so many different
Mhm.
aspects, but first we have to address the idea that she's presented in her case that she has been like forced to do all these things because
Mhm.
it's just not, that's not true. Like, the I'll get into where I see where she's coming from, but where she has to have the realization is that she participated into something now she's realizing she would have never done if she would have known what she was experiencing. Because like
Mm.
the thing with demons is they can't force you. Like nobody's forcing me to go to the Cheesecake Factory or whatever little demonic things. Nobody's
They
forcing me to.
did.
I'm participating based on what I think. And for Cassie, and I'm not going to say there was probably no times down the line where she was forced into this activity because we don't know. Like, I mean, she is testifying, but um, I think once she realized what's going on, we'll get into that. But essentially, it's like men spend their time with women trying to coerce and manipulate us into doing things that we don't want to do, essentially. this is why like we talk about like sex and low numbers and stuff, like people value low numbers, because on a certain level it can mean that you got manipulated less, right? People know that men know that they have been forever manipulating women into sexual acts of their liking, and men have done it with becoming your boyfriend. Men will do it with becoming married to. Back in the day, men just would have to get married to you to have sex. They'll do whatever they want to do if that's their agenda. Okay. For the most part. For the most part, men want that. And if you take it off the table, things change. The dynamic changes and you can see what's really going on. Right. That's why it's important to take sex off the table with women, especially young women watching. It's so important to, like, nobody gives women a good sex talk. And I feel like this is where Cassie needs to come from, because nobody told me my whole life. Has anybody ever told you the amount of pressuring and coercion you will deal with men for sex? Has anybody ever broke that down to you? No.
Nobody's ever had a proper
sex
I
talk.
was saying that. Yeah, I was like, America has never had a proper sex talk ever.
Ever.
As
ever. Especially as a beautiful woman. Obviously as any woman, but somebody as beautiful as Cassie. And when you're very pretty in general, you will be coerced more, not just for sex, but to be used as an image for things, to be used for so many different things. The more you fit the society standard, aka the magic square, the more you can be used by demons to do something with, right? If you're a beautiful woman, I've been coerced to take photos, or just still like, oh guys, a whole bunch of guys want to have a photo with me. At the time, I didn't think that was a weird. I'm not just in high school, nothing so crazy, right? I'm just saying men wanted to be seen with me because I'm being seen as somebody that's pretty. So just off of that, people want to use you. It could be even in subtle ways. Okay. So essentially, women haven't figured out how we have our own power. And when you're young, you know, she was willing to do it because she wanted Diddy. Right? When you're young, you don't really like understand the depth of this type of coercion that's going to happen for you. It's, like I said, I've seen Cassie in person. She's very, very beautiful. She's going to be coerced in many ways. People are going to be nice to her because they want to be seen with her, to get access to men. And it's going to be so much coercion in her life that nobody's going to explain to you. Nobody's going to tell a pretty woman all the levels of coercion you're going to go through. It's so many levels. And when you're in this industry, or you think you're in love, you will be willing to do things if you don't know any better to please a man. So that's what Cassie has done. She's put herself in a position of submission, which brings me up. This is a great example of of why submission is terrible, because she did anything for Diddy, even at the expense of her own mental health, out of her own safety, also out of her own desire. This is what submission can look like on the polarity of negativity, which usually leads to, because when you submit to somebody, you lose your own self-awareness until after the fact. Okay, so she was manipulated, I believe. He probably told her, I love you and all this stuff. The same way men told us when we were younger, the same way men tell you now, oh, I love you so much, or I'm about to do all this for you. I want you to be my wife. You know what I mean? They talk all this. They butter your biscuit real good just so they can have another man. Well, in Diddy's case, another man ejaculate on her so he could rub his thing off, because that's what he had. He had to do all that to get some juice from another man. Like, that's what he was using Cassie for, because apparently he already had several other women that he was using for other things more. So yes, Diddy is a abuser, and it has been consistently one. But when women value the man that they're desiring more than anything, like more than their own sense of self, this is what happens. And so, it's really important not to judge Cassie, because women do this all the time. And it's always important to not use people that have, like, in your mind, done more, been more extreme to make yourself feel better. Because I see a lot of people right now using this Diddy and Cassie situation to get more self-esteem. Like, oh, I never let a nigga do this. Girl, you didn't let a nigga do a lot of things, though. You know what I mean? Or people, or niggas being like, well, I never did nothing like Diddy, but you had your own little freak off you was trying to get girls to do. And you're a cheater and you might have hit a woman. So let's stop using these crazy things to feel good about yourself. Like feeling good about yourself is based around you becoming better each day. And Cassie was 22. Now, a lot of people say women got to take accountability. Age doesn't matter. There's a reason why men like young women, because as Diddy said to David, she's moldable. Like, you're young, you don't know anything. You think that if you fulfill a man, I'm saying how Cassie thought. She thought if she fulfilled this man's fantasy, she was going to go farther with him in many ways. Like if she gave him everything he wanted, he would at least in turn give her everything she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He even helped her with the album. You know what I mean? Like she thought at the minimum, I'm doing everything for you. This is when I'm talking about the submission concept. I'll do everything for you, you know? And it got her nowhere. This is what you see time and time again with women who just do everything for a man. They literally are always the ones that have nothing to show for it. And once you do that, men treat you worse. Now, I've been dumped before because I wasn't willing to do whatever the freak off was at the time. Because to me, a freak off for every man could be a different thing. And something freaky, like I'll tell you guys a story. It was too freaky for me at that age, right? I'll tell you. So in the 7th grade, I had a boyfriend and he wanted to finger me. And I just thought like that was crazy. Like I'm so young. Like I feel like that's like, you know, anything below that. I thought holding hands and like maybe a kiss on the cheek. I'm in middle school. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he was serious and he really tried to tell me how much he loved me and he wanted me to be his first and all this stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like, and once again, parents aren't even talking about the pressure you're going to deal with from men your own age. Nobody's telling you this stuff. Like, it's not just like, I got upset when they keep talking about Cassie's mom on TikTok, but we'll get into that. Nobody talks to kids about all this pressure you're going to get, you know, to the extent. I think the best movie is like Kids with Rosario Dawson or Teens. It kind of mentions that, but I watched that after I was like, I was like 22, after I had already had a boyfriend and everything else. You know what I'm saying? There's not enough conversation about how much a guy's going to like buy you flowers and like, oh, you're my girlfriend. I just want to finger you. Like, what's the big deal? It's no big deal. Like, I don't even want to be fingered. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, my one of my friends at the time, I guess she wanted to be fingered because she I guess she wanted to, I guess she wanted to, because you know, I guess I told her the story, and then I'll see about the next dance. I see them exchanging numbers, and I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, wait. She's like, oh, I just want to like exchange numbers so I could talk to him for you as a friend. Now, I always watch for a bitch that want to talk to your man for you as a friend. Because I'm like,
no.
Some ghetto stuff. Anyways, the following weekend after they exchanged numbers, this is still my boyfriend at the time, he ends up fingering her. And I find out, I break up with him, and then she tries to apologize to me and write me this long letter because I guess apparently after he got to finger her, it didn't go nowhere. And then he was begging to get me back. He was sending me flowers to my school. He's moved his twin. So him and his twin brother his parents didn't like them. Their parents didn't like them at the same school because they would like, it'd be too much drama apparently for whatever reason. They always separated them schools. So they had to separate their schools again. And so he told his parents to send him over there because they liked him at the school he was at. So his twin brother went to my school now, and like he would give his twin things to give me all day. Like when I tell you he started like being obsessed with me and like he wanted all his apologies and he wants to be with me and he didn't know why he did this and it wasn't that deep and he just didn't want to finger. He wanted to finger me and all this stuff. And I'm just like, you not only have reduced me to being fingered, you also left me for a friend. Like this whole situation was trifling, but it did teach me a little bit of something that I probably should have noted more. Now that I'm older, I'm like, dang, that's all you need to know right there. That story is every girl needs to know because number one, they don't respect you when they get what they want. You know what I mean? And number two, they don't respect whoever's giving them that pleasure that's fake, because nobody just wants to be fulfilled by the flesh. Nobody. Even if you think you do, once you get it, that's it. It's like having a good meal. Afterwards, you're like, you know, it doesn't really mean something, right? So it's like after that, then he wanted me. But then the next aspect is how come I'm attracting these type of boys, you know what I mean? And what's going on? Like because that wouldn't be the last time somebody wanted me to do their little freak off.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not at the same level, but to me in 6th grade, that is a big level. 7th grade, it's a big
Mm-hmm.
level. You know what I mean? That's something that would be considered a freak off in 7th grade to me. I know some kids was getting caught doing other things that I'm going to talk about soon too. But it's like I don't know why I feel like I didn't carry that same self-esteem all throughout my life because I feel like I mean I definitely said no to a lot of things, but I feel like when you're a kid you're very strict. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you just know once you get in a relationship, you have a boyfriend and you aren't a virgin anymore, you're just a little bit more like even that there's no reason to have sex outside of marriage. There's so many different things that now that I'm older, based around what I know now, that I would tell young girls: don't have sex outside of marriage. Don't don't sexualize yourself. You know, there's so many different things that you learn through growing. But I definitely always had a good self esteem, but now my self esteem is immaculate. And what I mean by that is there's so much coercion. Like I said, there's people that wanted to hang out with me. Most of my friends in my life always want to be friends with me because of my proximity to men. That's also a form of people using you. There's so many forms of people using you I'm talking about, not just sexually, that as you get older, you realize. And the more you are just yourself, the less people can use you anyways, because things are just more natural. But I feel like that'd be a story that somebody like Cassie would need to understand. Doing all that, he left the girl that did everything that he wanted. Doing all that's not going to keep anybody. When somebody's trying to manipulate you into doing something, it's already nothing there.
That's what people were saying, alluding to the whole Young Miami story.
Or what about that?
You were mentioning to me, and the other guy made the video about how she came. He starts dating her, and
Mm-hmm.
then he's doing all this stuff that apparently he was supposed to do to help Casey's career,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
she just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yes, yes, this is true. I feel like it was so random. This is like I had told Drake this. I don't think she saw it, but like before even that person made that video, a random video of Cassie and Diddy popped up on my timeline, and I'm not sorry of Carisha and Diddy, and I get sometimes I get empathetic vibes where like my whole body I could feel how somebody feels, and I literally Cassie jumped into my body, and I felt anger, upset, and some jealousy. You know, just watching Cassie, Carisha, and Diddy. Like I felt her
Mm-hmm.
feelings, and she was like pissed. Um, a lot of times when we're in lower self esteems as women, and you're dating men, particularly, a lot of when you've been with a man that did not treat you right, most women, I have done this before too, you leave that relationship going, well, at least I'm the best thing he's ever had. At least I'm the one that, he's going to idolize. I'm the one he's always going to like because that's your only way of dealing with the fact that you wasted your time, your energy with somebody who wasn't worth your while. So you have to rationalize it to be like, well, at least I'm better than everybody else because it becomes a competition mentally. Like what I was talking about in the beginning of this episode, people using Cassie and Diddy as their new metric for how low their self esteem is and how high and how good and how bad they've been. So most women after relationships, they want to be seen, especially if the relationship was bad, because mentally you can't get over something where you didn't obtain what you thought you wanted to get.
Mm-hmm.
But Cassie went about it the wrong way. But I was gonna say is like, so that was Cassie being upset with the Diddy and Carisha because, like I said, she comes out the blue. He's doing a podcast for her. He's doing all these things for her that he never did for her, and we know Carisha wasn't doing those things for him. She didn't have the time to, even if Carisha did have a freak off. I don't know if she did. I'm saying she didn't have time to do them 10 years back to back to back. You know what I'm saying? And we never saw Carisha with bruises or all these other things. He hadn't shown Carisha that side. He was rebranding with her to appear youthful to a young market. And secondly, people also were enjoying Diddy and Carisha being together. I remember that too. Because a lot of girls, when they leave relationships, like I said, they are wanting to leave a mark on that man. because that would make you feel better. Because most women don't realize that the reason why we go through relationships is to create a higher self-esteem. So relationships for you versus you to go Egypt, no, down. A relationship is you versus you. And afterwards, you're supposed to go, okay, how can I have a better self-esteem about myself? Instead of when you get out of the relationship, you're still looking at that man and the situation to develop your self-esteem. And your self-esteem is still dependent on how he's going to treat the next girl. You understand? So when you're in that, you're still basing your self-esteem off of if he puts me on a pedestal, or if he texts me and says he can't live without me, or if he texts me and says you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Most women want that gratification because their self-esteem is still attached to the man that they identified with. And that's why they want that gratification. Once you get out of low self-esteem, you don't even care what the guy says. You haven't responded to text. You had to change your number. You don't even want to know. You hope that he's doing good with whoever. I hope nobody's worried about me. I hope everybody's happy, and I really don't care. I don't want to be memorialized. Because now you're looking for a memorialization from this guy. Oh, you were the best, the most pretty, the most this, the most that. None of that's real. Okay. You're supposed to thank your abuser or your manipulator. Thank them for the opportunity to realize you have a lower self-esteem and you weren't being your full self. And you're not, that person was the reflection of you to realize that you had a low self-esteem. And like I said, it's all these different variables and degrees of self-esteem that we all have. And sometimes you get into low places. So that's the next aspect of it with Cassie, is I do believe she was manipulated and coerced. Like I said, the same way how my boyfriend tried to manipulate me and do it. I just didn't do it. But if I did do it and regretted it and told my parents, then it would have been a thing of, he's not older than me, same age as me. I would have to deal with that consequence, right? Because he didn't force me. He just manipulated me. It'd be like me buying a product or seeing a TikTok and go get crumble cookie and me going to get it and find out they're all not shit and wanting a refund. Like, I got to get a refund.
Happened to me before.
Yeah, because it's like you were manipulated in it, but nobody forced you to go get crumble cookie just because they
just sold it to you so well.
Yeah, they're like weekly crumble. And I don't think
a
lot of people are ready for the thankful to be grateful to a demon, because they show you where your self-esteem is low. They show you the cracks you have. And if you're still under the idea that you want to be a man's favorite, thing and all this type of stuff, that means you still have feelings for that man. Period, point blank. And these feelings are based around you memorializing him and making him your quote unquote God, because you're looking for his approval, and not having your own sense of self. Now we can get into it further as to, because a lot of people are like, well, why would you do all this? Well, she was mentally into that man. Now, I've broken this down a long time ago, but I'm always going to use myself as an example, because we always want to put ourselves on the cross. We always want to condemn ourselves before we condemn others. Okay. So, for example, I remember I always wanted to be respected. I always wanted to be well respected. So I dated a guy that was very well respected in the community. And in return, he was disrespecting me. So instead of me focusing on how I could obtain my own respect, which would mean to have stronger boundaries, put effort into my practices or things I'm passionate about, I searched for respect outside of myself. So I got the opposite. This is what Cassie does. This is what low self-esteem and insecurities do. So when you're insecure about something, you look to others to fulfill a gap within yourself. So this is why people feel like they're so in love. No, you just want to attain whatever the attribute that Diddy has. To me, maybe be power. He's very powerful. He's very known. He can get things done on his own. He's very stable in the industry. He's been around for a long time. So all those attributes is what Cassie wanted. But instead of her figuring out how to do it on her own, she allowed herself to look for it through Diddy. And that's how she fell in love with him, because she was out of love with herself at that point. Now, obviously, we'll get into the extreme amounts of abuse that carried on, right? But when nobody's physically forcing you, people aren't going to go for you or forced.
Mm.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like if I would have let that boy do that, people would have been like, you shouldn't, they would have told me I was fast. You know what I mean? It would have went on me. And that's what's even crazy too. Like pleasing somebody else. And a lot of girls don't know. They just do it because it's their boyfriend or whatever. Now you're ruining yourself with something you didn't even want to do. I didn't even think of this shit. Cassie didn't even think of this. You know what I mean? She couldn't in a million years think about having a freak off. But it always, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I know she didn't think of it, which is why she feels like she was forced because the way it was presented, like, you're my girl. You got to do this for me. Like, you're supposed to be my girl. And my ride or
Then
die.
later you come to that realization, like, what was I doing?
Yeah. Later on, you look at it like, I didn't like any of it. And she probably didn't like it all. People are like, why would you do it if you didn't like it? Man, I got a fan member that she was saying that about Cassie. She was like, well, she must have loved it. She kept doing it. I'm like, your man have 4 kids on you. Do you like that you have a man that have 4 kids on you and you still with him? No. But you want that man for whatever quality you feel like you lack in yourself. So women got to stop judging Cassie because people do it every day. It doesn't matter what scale. You're participating in it. She didn't, the person I'm talking about, she don't like that her man got kids on her. You don't like it. You're willing to put up with it because you want that man. Cassie didn't like the freak off, but she was willing to do it because that was her man that she wanted. And men like that maneuver in power, they're not going to slow their roll for you. They're going to want to attach you along for the journey. So the biggest thing with Cassie we have to learn is we're not having the proper sex talks and sex education with women at all. At all. At all. We're not talking about sexual health enough. We're not talking about sexual safety. We're not talking about manipulation. And we're not talking about how most boyfriends are just there to fuck you. And in worst cases, freak you off. And in the worst case scenario, they're going to want, but let's get into that. I wanted to get into that a little bit more though, in the sense that I think that people are judging Cassie. They're forgetting about the culture that we grew up in. Like Cassie is like a midway millennial, like the middle, like not old millennial, but she's like a middle range millennial. Let me see what year she was born. Hold on. Cassie.
Maybe like 1990.
She's 38. She was born in 86. So
Yeah,
she was.
I didn't know she was 38. She looks amazing.
Yeah, she does. So she's like a mid-range millennial. I think millennials start in the 80s. Either way, women in this time period when I was growing up, it was male worshiping was like the norm. Like everybody I knew that like I saw and this things in the culture was very male centered. I don't know if you feel that way, Drake, but I feel like growing up, all the black women like from my school, like, oh, you got a man, like it's important to keep a man. I saw my brother,
The
all the
music
women.
was like the main thing.
Yeah, let me
All
cater
those
to
songs
you.
about don't mess with my man. I mean, that was the
Yeah.
norm.
And
The
I used to
standard
say that.
R&B song.
Yeah. And I used to like be like, yeah, like that's my man. Like used to be like it was really taught that your man was your identity because so far along in history, that's for like this time period we've been in, these several thousand years, because it hasn't always been like this. The time period we're in, it was the culmination of that. Like, oh, that's my man. And your representation, not the culmination, because even the 50s was going like that too. But the culmination of it was kind of like your man is your representation. You know, every woman wants to associate with a man of power. It's like, don't mess with mine. Like, I got that man. And everything was about your man, the man, right? And I remember like my older brothers were constantly getting gifts, getting cars from women. It was very normal when I was a kid where girls were like, oh, you should buy that for him. Like I know the way with Shira 7 is nowadays, you wouldn't hear that. But when I was a kid, women spent a lot of in the black community, women spent a lot of money on men, a lot of resources. It was like very normal. It wasn't seen as bad. Like maybe some people didn't do it, but I'm just trying to set the stage of the culture like that Cassie grew up in. Even if she didn't grow up in the black community, she became into it fully as she got up. Because this is what the things that people were talking about. Also partying was super big in this 2010s era. Like we was brought up in a terrible time of like just partying. I partied in high school, like just drinking. Drinking was very normal. And obviously, I'm not saying I partied in those ways. I'm just saying like having to go into a party was like the thing to do in high school. Having to drink, like playing beer pong, all that stuff was like what popular people did. We
The
watched all those
standard.
TV shows. What do you say, Drake?
The standard.
Yeah, it was the standard of like a fun high school. Like you had popular friends, you had a boyfriend, you partied. Like everything bad that you're not supposed to be doing was normalized. 'Cause I feel like that plays a big role into it.
Yeah.
Like having a hot, powerful boyfriend, like Diddy wasn't really seen as like bad. You know what I'm saying? He's not hot, but I'm just saying like hot in the meaning. You know what I mean? Like Diddy's this guy. He was doing the white parties. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, the
we
all
grew
white
up,
parties.
we grew up thinking
Yeah.
those white parties was cool. Like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
Diddy got a white party going, like, I want to go to a white party. Like I literally remember thinking
Hmm.
like I want to go to a white party because I was under the
Yeah.
party culture. Like I was under party culture in high school. Like just wanted to go out, put cute outfits on. Like my friends would get dolled up, take photos, like, and we make all these silly, funny photos, like partying, like because partying was so like hot at the time. So we used to take like
Hmm.
party photos, even if we weren't like crazy, like we weren't even that drunk, but it was just the idea that we were partying because partying was what was being pushed on the kids at the time. Like
The popular thing.
it was like the hot thing. Like Paris Hilton was partying. Like everybody wanted to party. It was like, man, I got to go to these parties. You know what I mean? Like partying was hot. So I think that Cassie also is a victim of this generation,
The culture.
like the culture. Like, and a lot of us are victims of it. Like, oh, it's okay to have sex if you have a boyfriend. All these things that aren't okay, like, is totally normalized at this point.
I've been a
Especially,
victim of the last 10-year culture.
what you say,
I said I've been a victim of the last 10 years culture,
which is what
being under a lot of, I don't even know, what would you consider the last 10 years? Who are we really under?
gens.
Probably
Yeah, I've been under all these.
Instagram.
I've been under all these crazy demons too. I was partying with grays, my juicy jacket, thinking I was a freaking gray. I was twerking with a juvenile, back that ass up came on in 2000 and whatever. Like, you know, we was all under all these crazy cultural concepts. But the lower self-esteem it, the more, well, several things. You could say low self-esteem, but also sometimes you participate in things because you fit the description. But let's say you are bigger and body positivity culture comes out. So now you're doing body positivity, even though that's not your idea. You participating in something that you didn't even
Hmm.
think of. And then later on you realize I don't even give a fuck about body positivity. So a lot of times it's just like you fit the description. If redheads is in style, you like, okay, well, let me do this because I'm a redhead, or whatever's in style you participating in. So what we're teaching on this channel too is to really make sure you're not participating in things like right now the MAGA stuff is really popular, and the manosphere and being super conservative, all these things are popular. You know, don't get washed up under the current, as Uriel says. Like you still want to maintain your individuality. If the MAGA culture is showing you a flaw within yourself that maybe you need to better up, because every time, even with their culture, it might be something that you look at them like, dang, I have it, I'm not as on point or whatever. Or I would say the tarot, they work really hard, so maybe you're looking at them like, you know what, maybe I could work a little harder. There might be something positive you can get out of it, but make sure you don't get washed up under it.
Hmm.
If that makes sense. If there's something positive, usually it'd be something that you need to do and you're just realizing it by watching those demons. But essentially you're brought up under demonic culture. Like that's when demonic culture started, with the grays and the jinns, and that was a big time with the gray culture, which is just like, oh, everything's fun, everything's cool, like it's no big deal, it's just a party, it's just this, it's like no big deal. So we grew up with that. So I would do feel like Cassie was a victim of the culture, because during the time where she was getting like all these beat downs, that was like the even more party era, like the gin party era, that everybody's going to the strip club and Rihanna has poured up, and everything's just like, it was like the most debauchery time of
The
all.
peak.
Peak debauch. Like all of us were not being ourselves. I mean, for the most part, obviously some people probably didn't participate in any of it, but I'm just saying that like it was just Instagram
Routinely.
looking pretty and like getting money, and like it just wasn't anything wholesome about it. Because we have to set the stage on that. Like, because now with how women are being raised with the voices like Shira Seven and stuff, I don't believe that she would have been as led astray.
Hmm.
The culture is now, it's like, don't let a man manipulate you, you manipulate the man. which even though it's still not pure, it's better than before.
Mm-hmm.
That's a better notion because you won't get as thrown around.
Mm.
And you know, the other aspect is she was dating Brian Leslie and they had those hits, and then she left him and got with Diddy.
Mm.
Now, to me, parts of it I don't really care for it. And people are like, see, like look at how she's a homie hopper. Like Diddy dated Misha Barton, then dated Kim Porter. Like I don't know her name. What's her name? I don't know. Misa.
Misha, I was like Misha
Misha Barton.
Barton.
Sorry, not
You
Misha
did?
Barton. That's a white girl. I meant
Yeah.
Misa, and then Kim
Misha
Porter, and they
Barton.
was friends. I'm saying like Diddy's a crazy homie hopper. So let's not like
Mm-hmm.
act like this is about homie hopping, you know? Um, but where Cassie went wrong is she probably shouldn't even been dating Ryan Leslie. She could have just kept a working relationship with him. She seems like she's dating people instead of just working with people. And a lot of young women get to that because, like I said, when you're young, you're insecure. So you feel more comfortable dating who you're working with than just working with them because the guys that want to work with you also want to date you. And you can't really differentiate the two. But
Mm-hmm.
also, you feel more comfortable when it's your boyfriend because it's more intimate. I'm just saying a lot of this has to do with not having enough self esteem to go out on your own. And it could be when a guy wants to be your boyfriend, they're a little more obsessed with you. They're a little more willing to do more things, spend more, do more. Because you got to get that out the way. But I do feel like this is a bad thing. Another bad aspect that Cassie was participating in was everybody she worked with is her boyfriend. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody wants to work with me right now, I don't need to date them, or else we shouldn't work. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, but
Yeah.
nobody tells you that because when you're in the industry, such as the entertainment, most men are going to want to date you if you're pretty because they want to associate themselves with you. They want to be like, oh, this and that, you know. When she met Ryan, if she's still not with him, it wasn't going to go that far. So essentially, she should have just been like, look, we can just work. If not, then whatever. She never kept work and play separate, and that's really hard for beautiful women because a lot of times people won't work with you if you say no, or they won't write the
Mm-hmm.
songs as good. So this, there's a lot of different aspects at play here. But a lot of times that protects you just by being like, I don't want to like date anybody here. A good example for me was like when I did a lot of vines, I didn't date anybody in the vine. And because of that, everybody wanted to work with me because we weren't, none of us were mixing business and pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
People, the guys that worked with me, they loved working with me because the girls they dated wanted to get in the vines because at the time, Vine was hot. You could make a lot of money, but they didn't want their girlfriends or girls they dated to be in Vine. So they just put me in it because they wanted that separation. So it actually, like I always said, when you do the opposite of what you think you're supposed to do, you end up getting the better result.
Mm-hmm.
Like if versus a lot of girls were dating Viners to get into videos and then that never got them anywhere. So the more you just do your own thing and stay in your own lane and just be like, yeah, I don't really want to date anybody I work with. Um, if it happens naturally, cool. But especially not at the beginning of a work relationship.
Probably not.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like there are couples that both do the similar thing and that can work, but not in this way. It'd have to happen naturally. It wouldn't be a thing where up front we're already dating before our album is out. You know what I'm saying? Like where
Mm-hmm.
you're becoming a girlfriend versus you want to be an artist. And that's what happened to Cassie. Cassie became Diddy's girlfriend. You know what was crazy for me watching this whole thing is I didn't even know she cared about her career. Like I never looked at Cassie like she wanted a career because all I
What?
ever saw was with her with Diddy. You know what I'm trying to say?
I have to drink more juice.
You have to drink your juices that one treat. Does
I mean,
this
I
make
get what
sense?
you mean.
Yeah, like I
Oh,
didn't
I
know it
completely
mattered to her.
understand.
I didn't know it mattered to
I
her.
think people would see that because of also how it's being portrayed, and then Diddy's like not helping her put it out there. So we're not really, I guess, taking the music serious because it's like that's not what we're really seeing. I guess we're kind of seeing a couple and Diddy, and
Yeah, like I didn't even know
I
she
don't
still really
know.
wanted to do music. I thought she was just happy to be somebody's girlfriend. And she was like just living well. Like, some people they get in
Mm-hmm.
industries and they don't find out they don't really like it. I thought she was a type where it's like, oh, I wanted to do music, but like I'm just Diddy's
Right.
girlfriend. I'm happy being a girlfriend. When actually now I'm looking at it, I could tell she feel like she lost her career.
Mm.
And it's not because she had a boyfriend. It's because she tried to go through a boyfriend to get a career.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, like if you do your own thing and then you end up dating somebody in the industry, okay, whatever. But she wasn't established as her own thing. She was trying to establish herself through her boyfriends, which was like a thing that you see a lot. But in her case, she got the worst possible outcome, like the worst person she could pick to do that with.
I was gonna say, yeah, the worst boyfriend to do that with,
Yeah, like she got literally
because he
got the
wasn't
worst.
helping like anybody,
Yeah.
truthfully.
Yeah. And also it's
Not a
like,
long way.
yeah. And kind of like you're saying, Drake, it's like the worst boyfriend and the worst person to even do that with. Like both aspects. You got the worst boyfriend, like he's a terrible boyfriend, and like because he doesn't really have sex with you. He wants to have group sex because that's what gets his thing up is other men, essentially. So he was using her to fulfill his sexual fantasy of being with other men because that was the proximity that he could have. I think people were expecting more gay
Hmm.
stuff in it, but it just in their case it wasn't. It was like he used her as a sex doll to have the experience of a man. He was living vicariously through her.
Yeah, I seen someone say that.
Yeah, because it's sick and twisted. I think Gene Deal was saying this too. Like, what type of man is wanting their girlfriend that they're gonna kiss, they're gonna share food, they're gonna cuddle with to get urinated and cummed on and like go back and kiss them? Like, that's crazy. Most men don't even want their girlfriend dealing with any other man. Like that's just like, most men that are straight, they want to freak off with another woman. They want a threesome.
Mm.
And that's also why it's more humiliating for Cassie too, because let's be real in the culture. If Diddy and Cassie were having threesomes with girls every weekend, nobody would be calling her a bop or a hoe or that she's ran through. That
Mm.
has to do with the male, the men. The men make you run through it based around this psychology that's in the world. The
Mm-hmm.
man makes you run through. I feel like it'd be a different thing, right? If she was with all these women every weekend with Diddy, people wouldn't be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
Cassie's a hoe." They would be like, "Oh, she's loyal to Cassie." She's
especially
loyal to
maybe if
Diddy.
she wasn't the
We
whole
say,
abuse thing.
we say,
I said, especially if the whole abuse thing wasn't like a part of it.
yeah, the abuse definitely makes it terrible too. But I'm just more so talking about everybody's calling her a hoe, and that's because it's men. Because a lot of girls that date these type of entertainers, they're having threesomes and things like that. But people aren't calling them hoes because it's with another woman.
Mm-hmm.
So men make you a hoe essentially, and then they get mad at women that become hoes, which makes no sense because you guys are creating a problem and then you hate the problem. You're like, why don't y'all have more self-respect? You know what I mean? Like men have created all these whores, what they want to call whores, because it's their own creation, and then they're mad about it. And they're taking it on out on us, taking it out on women, a problem that they created.
Taking it all out of us.
They're taking it all out on us. Yeah, they're taking it out on Cassie. Because it's like and the reason why is because every man, for the most part, is guilty for trying to manipulate a woman into having sex. That's why men don't want Diddy to feel like to be guilty for the most part. They can say what they want, but they don't feel like he, forced her because they don't want to feel
Mm-hmm.
like they're forcing women. They're just manipulating women. And if you choose to do it, okay. 1 second. Let me pause this. Now, I do want to address the fact that I feel like a lot of women are upset at women for saying that Cassie was forced into it. And this is because they too have been victims of doing things that they didn't want to do things they didn't want to do, but they did it to please somebody else. And so they feel like they were forced, but really they were manipulated. But a lot of times we can't get to the conclusion because we're so angry at ourselves for doing something that isn't a representation of who we truly and authentically are. We're so mad at ourselves that we're just blaming that person and not realizing that we did this voluntarily because we had low self-esteem. So it's like we don't want to take any accountability because it becomes dealing with the truth. But the truth helps you grow and learn and evolve, so you don't have to make these same mistakes again. Because if it doesn't come through a man, there's still going to be people manipulating you every day. I mean, they have ads every day. Go buy this, go do this, go start this career. It's always a new form of manipulation. So it's not just like, I know it sucks and everybody goes through it. Everybody looks back in life and goes, what the fuck? Why did I do that? Because I had low self-esteem is the answer. Nobody.
What do you say for people who say that they don't have low self-esteem though, and they're going through like crazy situations? Not even just this, like any of it. And they say, no, I don't have low self-esteem.
They might not have the lowest self-esteem, but it's always you trying to find yourself through something or something that you still are holding on to. But it has to be connected to this of a point of self-esteem. You know what I mean? It might be you don't have the self-esteem to do something on your own yet. Like you need a friend to go to the gym with you. You know what I'm trying to say? Is so many different aspects of it. Versus if you really have high self-esteem, you're going to get up and go to the gym yourself. But you might be at the point in your life still where you need you and your best friend going to the gym to lose weight together. You know what I mean? Or to go to the gym to hold each other accountable. That's okay. It's a movement to where you get the full self-esteem where you're just all channeled in, doing things for yourself, by yourself, with the fulfillment of it by yourself. But there's levels. It's like you're growing. You needed that situation to learn something. That you're on your soul path, you know, to achieve and to achieve your individuality, to be reminded about your individuality. It's something to bring you to your mission as well. Like to what you're supposed to be doing on earth, you know, things like that. Which it's like we are victims, but we also are, you know, like I said, people are victims of the culture. There's a lot of victims, but you don't have to like things are going to happen to you, but you also don't want to be like a victim that never takes any accountability with how you got involved with it in the first place. Because then you can't move past it, you can't evolve, and you can't become better. And the reason why is because people, what do you say?
I was going to say, leave a comment below if you feel like you're a victim to the culture.
Yeah, you know, like victims to the culture, victims to the desires of men in the world, victim to the beauty standard. You know, see people with those nose jobs and they be on TikTok, victim to the culture. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many versions of being a victim to the culture and a victim to things. But if you don't take accountability, like I always teach, you don't have to take accountability for all of it, but you got to take accountability for the part you played in it. And it was thinking that Diddy was more powerful than you. Because you felt like you needed him to do, if you had him, then you have it all. But when you had him, you had nothing. You had the most abuse of your life. So it's like I said earlier, but with me dating the guy with respect, instead of me getting respect from him, he would be disrespectful to me, and I wasn't getting no respect at home. So actually Diddy was giving her, like putting her in the most powerless position. Most powerful person that she was trying to obtain her sense of power from was making her giving her no power, taking her phone, taking her thing. I mean, the abuse is crazy. The abuse that she had to go through is ridiculous and disgusting and crazy. But we have to address how you even get into a situation like that. Because the things that he did is beyond, you know, any normal levels of abuse. I mean, he's taking all her stuff. She can't get in contact with people. And I'm sure she felt forced. You felt forced because you don't know how to say no to somebody that you think you want to be with. You know? And we know that she wasn't forced all the way because she was still, you know, vouching for him with her best friend. You know, after her best friend got hit, she's still vouching for him. No matter how bad it got, she still was upholding him. Sorry, you guys. Um, and I think, but at the same time, Diddy did break a lot of laws, and also with the manipulation, he's not stupid. He was having her hit up these prostitutes for a reason. When she was younger, she didn't understand that. That's all to protect him on the way out.
Mm, I didn't even think about that.
Exactly. Gabriel didn't understand why she has to do it because now she's a willing, consenting participant.
Mm.
This is why he never um actually contact any prostitutes. He have his assistant or Cassie do it because this way everybody's consenting to it. It's like the same way how like people eat all this food. They tell you what the ingredients are. You know what I mean? And then you get cancer, but you were a consenting person. You know. But another aspect is people forget that after a while she got low. Once you start getting abused and beat on, it is not as easy to leave as people want to think. And I think
Mm-mm.
because her self-esteem was like was normal low before this. Like she had a regular self-esteem. She had a high self-esteem in a lot of videos. Like just a regular level of self-esteem, which is good, strong. She was like smiling, she was confident, she was proud of herself like a normal person. I think her self-esteem was. I don't think she even had extremely low self-esteem as and that's what's crazy with the things she even did. Her self-esteem before Diddy wasn't that low, but once she did it, her self-esteem went low as it could because sex is associated with shame. Okay,
Mm.
sex is your root chakra and it's your sense of self. So when you're giving out sex to people without being in a like a I am situation, without being in a pure situation, you can fall to feeling guilty, shameful, and shame is the lowest frequency. So when somebody's manipulating you into sexual activity, it's going to throw your self-esteem through the toilet. A lot of women never get their childhood glow back because once you do those things, you feel like you're carrying something. I feel like she felt like she was carrying all this and we didn't even know. Like all this guilt, all this shame, all this stuff she's carrying because once you allow somebody into your lower chakra, you get the polarity of the negativity, which is shame. And shame is the worst feeling to deal with because she's ashamed of who she is, but that's not her true self. So she has to release that and just become her pure self again and let it go because it's not her
Okay.
true being. It's not her true being. Who she truly is loved and light. And a full, complete person doesn't need anybody else for validation. So she has to get in that energy before she can, so she can heal. Because just telling the world isn't necessarily always going to heal you, too.
What do you think you do, or what should she do in this case?
Um, I think I think she has to do the accountability aspect because once you realize why you got involved and what your actual insecurity is, once she comes to the conclusion of what insecurity she had that drew her to him, then she will have the resolution and she can work
Mm.
on making herself more powerful and empowered by herself
Mm-hmm.
and learn how to walk on her own. That's kind of how you heal these things. Like you realize like what aspect of yourself did you feel like you were lacking to get that and then focus on a regimen to establish that inside yourself. Like for example, I
Mm.
remember this guy that I really liked and then I just realized that I just like how he dresses. So instead of me liking him and once I realized that I started dressing good and then I stopped liking him. I didn't have to even go through the dating experience, but I realized, like, that's like how he dresses. I don't even like him. So it's things like this I'm talking about. Once you realize what is attracting you to them, to where you're feeling this passion, it might just be somebody's style. Well, that just means you're not focused on your style and you're just seeking it outside of yourself. So once she does the work to realize what she was seeking through him for herself, then she can come to a better conclusion and a resolution. But first, you got to come to that aha moment of like, this is why I did this.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's at a point now where she's upset because she knows she didn't want to do those things. Like she didn't enjoy any of that. Whether people believe that or not, I know she didn't. So, and then for Diddy, I just believe this case is just karmic because he's done so many things. You know, he allegedly killed Tupac, which I believe. He allegedly killed Biggie, which I believed. And eventually, you never go to jail for like the thing that you do a lot of times. we've been seeing all these talks about karma and this and that. Karma's real. Like it's not like, 'cause I've seen some people online say, well, if you believe it's bad, then it's bad. No, there's beings outside of this world that's created that's gonna come and give you their your karmic justice.
No, I hate that. I'm like, people always say like, "Oh yeah, karma is." I'm like, bro, it happens every day, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. It happens every day whether you like it or not. And I feel like the aspects to me that I believe show that Cassie was being trafficked. Let's get into that. Was Cassie being trafficked though? Even though she was just coerced, but once again, coercion is part of a RICO because I did say he manipulated her into doing that. So we have to
Mhm.
men have to understand that, manipulation is a part of a RICO.
Mhm.
So he did coerce her. And the next aspect is he was taking her stuff. Now, I told Drika this a long time ago. I saw Cassie at my nail salon in LA like years ago during when she was dating
Mhm.
Diddy. And I told Cassie this a long time ago. Like, sorry, not Cassie. I told Drika this a long time, way before this case. I literally, what did I tell you, Drika, about Cassie?
Mm, I forgot exactly, but I know you told me you ran into her and that she was it in reference to how she looked.
Yeah.
You were saying that she looked like she kept looking at you weird.
She
Like, I
looked
don't know.
sad.
It was a kind of like
She looked
a
sad. She looked very, very
yeah.
sad. And I remember this and I never forgot it because I thought, like, when I saw her, she is so pretty in person. And I was looking at her and she was looking at me and she looked so sad and off putting and weird. Mind you, we're getting our toes done right next to each other.
Mm.
She ain't got her cell phone. So now I'm realizing this is what's going on. You know what I mean? She didn't have a phone on her. Most girls, when you get in your phone, your toes, you on your phone texting your friends. That's the time in the nail salon that you prefer because when you get your hands on, you can't text people. But she's the only girl in there with no phone getting her nails done and looking just depressed. Like I literally was like, she's so pretty in person. Like Cassie in person is drop dead gorgeous, but it was so weird and eerie just to see her so sad. And
Did
I
you
didn't
say
know.
anything to her?
No, I didn't. I just noticed her. I'm like, oh, she's so pretty, but she looks sad. Like that's all I thought was like, she looks
Mm-hmm.
sad. Like this is weird. Like it was oddly sad. And now looking back, I know why. Because this is during the heat of all that. This is probably like 2016, 2017, something in there of like, somewhere in there between and somewhere
Yeah.
in the 2020s. I saw. I don't remember the exact time. It was like a hot nail salon at the time. All the girls were going there. But I remember her looking very sad. I don't remember her having a phone. I wasn't looking into it that deep at the time. But I just remember her looking around the room and looking like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, I remember you told me that, and I remember. I guess like you mentally hold on to certain things because it'll make sense later.
Yes.
Because we remember that, and I was like, I guess that's why she was looking that way.
Yeah, because I held on to it. Like, and I've seen so many celebrities, but for some reason, like I told Drake this a long time ago. Like I like
Mm-hmm.
way before she even broke up with Diddy, way before all these things
This is
happened.
years ago.
Years ago, like just about, and it just because it just stood out to me. Like I haven't seen somebody look that sad. It looked like somebody that like somebody passed away or something that was like, oh, she's going through something sad. Like her energy. And I feel people. I'm very like I could be an empath in that way where I could pick up on somebody's vibe or somebody's energy. So it's like certain people strike me. I've seen a lot of people in person. I don't even remember. Like I couldn't even remember the vibe. I've been to a lot of like events, things like that. But especially when girls are getting their nails done, usually everybody's in like a good mood because it's like your girl time, it's your spa time, it's your
Self care.
your self-care. So to see somebody that sad was just kind of odd, you know. And it just stood out to me. And I've always remembered that. I'm like, I remember seeing Cassie. She was so pretty, but she looked depressed. She looked sad. And now it's making sense because of what she was dealing with Diddy. And I feel like what people don't understand is like once you go through those lows, you can't, it's hard to leave. Like people be like, why didn't you leave? I think she did try to leave. And this is why I think he will be found guilty, is because when she tried to leave, he was taking her stuff, tried to extort the family for 20,000, and then
Mm-hmm.
he blew up Kid Cudi's car allegedly. So I think those types of things go back to him using bad boy, which would be the criminal enterprise, to control and manipulate and coerce somebody into sexual activities. And also the fact that he didn't give her uh, a a career. He just gave her like he made her a sex toy.
Or like I thought you were gonna say like cash money.
Yeah, he didn't give her like what was promised. And you know, this is going to be an interesting case though, because if he gets off free, like that will show he did a good job being a demon. Like he cleaned his hands, he wiped his hands, he manipulated, he did everything the right way to where he's running off scot free.
Do you think he is?
I think he might go down with it because I feel like the jury watching all this is just going to feel like he's using Bad Boy to do illegal stuff. And if
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're saying a RICO is, then because like people are like, well, that's not what a RICO is. A RICO is made up. All laws are made. They can flip it on you anytime they want to. RICO is made up by Rudy Giuliani and take down the mafia. It's just to take somebody big down.
Mm.
It's like none of these things. That just means they're trying to give him a heavier charge than just domestic violence. When he's you know, technically buying prostitutes is illegal. It's his
Mm-hmm.
money. Like he might not be hitting these people up, but he's the one paying for all these shenanigans. I just feel like it's karma. You know what I mean? I feel like it's karma, like more than anything. Diddy's done a lot of stuff. And like I say, most people that go to jail aren't in jail for what they actually should be in jail for. They're just going in jail because it's karma's hand, it's karma's law. At a certain point, you're going to get sit down. It
Yeah.
wouldn't matter if you did it or not. Because most people don't go to
That's
jail for the
crazy.
bad thing they did. Most people's karma isn't even in a way that can make sense to you. Like you see these celebrities getting away with so much stuff, and like, dang, when's their karma coming? Because it takes a build up to actually get to the karma, right?
And it might not
Yeah,
catch you now, but later, or maybe in another life.
yeah. But usually at some point in the life, it's gonna catch you. So yeah, and I think the stuff from the mom, like him, like the email from Cassie or her being scared, like he's gonna extort me, he's gonna post these videos of me, like because she was trying to leave, and people keep painting Cassie as this like crazy cheater for and like a bop, like oh she was with Kid Cudi, she was with it. Well, to me, like I don't see like that because like I said, to me, she was performing sex acts for Diddy. A lot of women do this, but usually they're doing it with women. You know what I mean? That's what I've seen so far. Like most girls that I saw, dating these powerful men would be having threesomes with these guys with women. She doesn't give me that bop vibe. Like so I know that she's more of the submissive mind
Mm-hmm.
because most girls that are bops, they have actually even more confidence. They moving by themselves. She's not moving by herself. She's doing whatever Diddy's operation is.
Mm.
Because I feel like she keeps getting that. I'm like, I don't get that vibe from, and that's why people didn't even get that vibe from Cassie.
Yeah,
She
not at
came
all.
across like a submissive girlfriend, and that's what she was. But behind closed doors, he was making her, you know, do those acts to please him. And she just wanted one-on-one. Even in the text message, she just wanted to have sex with him alone. He didn't want that. So, um, but yeah, I think the also aspect is that, but I have to say this too, like where Diddy is a predator is like men do know what women don't know much and haven't been around much. Because there's
Mm-hmm.
this whole thing of like, oh, there's the aspect of her doing it and participating, but there's also an aspect of him taking advantage of her. I'll give an example. Back in my middle school, like I was telling y'all before, it was a black private school, and in like sixth grade, we give a lot of scholarships to people in like bad neighborhoods. This is usually when we get like a lot of gins coming to our school and things like that. And there was a white girl at my school, very innocent. She was from a lot of money. She never been around the type of like, I grew up in a rough neighborhood. I went to a private school, but I was the only one of my siblings in private school. But like my neighborhood was rough. So I have been a little more familiarized with the ways of the world. But the rich white people at my school and some of even the rich black kids didn't really know. But usually all the black kids knew. But the rich white kids, they didn't really grow up around stuff we grew up around. So it ended up being this huge scandal because this little sweet innocent white girl ends up giving one of these new black kids head behind the school. It was a huge deal. Like our school was so loving that we like was able to heal the situation. But like he knew when he went there that there were girls that didn't know anything. And she did it because she thought it was normal. He told her it was like it was nothing. It wasn't a big deal. Like, I love you. This is very simple. It's not a big deal. So she did it because she was like her boyfriend in middle school. She didn't think, giving head was this huge, huge deal. Like, it's sex. He's like, it's not. He probably told her it's not. I think he told her it wasn't really like sex like that. It was just like, something people do. Like, it's like kissing almost. You know what I'm trying to say? So there is this other aspect of people knowing who to go after.
Yeah, who's gullible.
Yeah, who's gullible. And like, she was a very, very pretty girl. And I'm not going to, I feel bad even bringing this up because it's not my business, essentially. But it's a good example of that to me, of like, predators also do know in the room who don't know shit and who hasn't been around the block. Right? They even say when it comes to women getting raped, they pick people that have are more hunched over, who are actually more, like reserved or don't know. Because there is the insecure part. Like, once again, she was willing to do something for a guy, but there's also this lack of understanding of the world too. You know what I'm saying? There's both. And that's how we get into these catastrophes, because we're combining insecurity with lack of information. No, when that combination meets, it's explosive and it's like the worst possible outcomes. So I do want to like acknowledge that part on Cassie's behalf and on his behalf, because like he knew exactly what type of woman Cassie was. It's hard to find a girl that's gonna do every little thing for you. You know what I mean? Men don't come around with type of girls every day, which is why he was sad when she left, because you're not gonna replace that. And so I wanted to address that. Like, people like Diddy, they know who to pick, they know who to choose, they know how to do this. I have so many stories like that I could show y'all, and like people I know that didn't know anything and got into a whole crazy thing because they had not been submerged into being around predatory men. So, and like I said, lack of awareness. The other girls from a different culture, a different race, a different economic bracket. So she had not been aware of those things. And her family was like really, really nice. Like, they were like one of the nice families in the world. And as a community, as a church, we shook it off. We like really prayed. Like, it wasn't really like we judged her either. Like, we all prayed for her because it was just like so much. Like, we felt bad for the family because they contributed so much to our community. And it's like, dang, like we felt like as a community, we let her down. And that's how we should be looking at Cassie. Like, as a community, we let Cassie down. Nobody warned her enough about dating Diddy. She didn't get the proper sex talk. Like, as a community, we're letting people down because we shouldn't have that in our community. People shouldn't have to fear predators. So what are the actions moving forward that we can give so that we don't have to have this many victims to unawareness and insecurity? Because insecurity alone will throw you off. But then when you don't have the awareness, you're just doing something for a man. A lot of girls are taught to do that. And you get into these disasters. Both women were being submissive. But what did they lose? So we have to be teaching things. Those things you can't even find in the church. These types of real, honest conversations that, you're going to need, and somebody around you so you have understanding, somebody that can give you some information. But when it comes to Diddy, I just feel like time is up kind of vibe. Like, he's at a point. Like, that's why people don't understand, like, how these people get locked up. It's karmic hands of justice. It's, there are people that get locked up innocently, and sometimes that's to show where the system is. That's usually to show where the system is flawed at. But then you got people that get locked up for small things, like Diddy. If he gets locked up for this, people are going to be mad because it's like, well, if he gets a RICO, what's going to happen to the rest of us? Like how Boosie's scared. Like, if Diddy gets a RICO, what are we going to do?
Oh my gosh.
And they're saying that because they manipulate women. They probably taken advantage of women their whole life. They probably coerced women their whole life. So now it's like everybody gonna have to go to jail. because most men act out of coercion when naturally those things are supposed to happen, you know, naturally. It shouldn't be coerced. You know what I mean? If it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But
Coercion.
men like Boozy know they have to coerce a woman into having that threesome, into that freak off. That's my whole thing too. It's like a lot of these men, they're having freak offs just with other women. Boosie has songs about two red bones in the bathtub, so they're having freak offs too. It's just other women, and so it's not anything that's kind of coming in as odd, but still, it's group orgies, which should be odd to us. That's been too normalized in the culture in the last decade too. Like
Mm-hmm.
girls feeling like they need to participate in group sex to have a man.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm very happy that I didn't participate in, you know, because I seen so much of it in LA. Like so many people do so much to get things, and also me being in LA, like I'm telling you, it's constant vultures, like left and right. Anytime you go to a meeting, a guy wants to have sex with you. I mean, it's like you don't even like. That's why I like being in the comfort of my home doing this podcast. It's like I don't have to deal with anything. It's constant because those men also, some of them could be a victim of their culture too, where they brought up and seen all these powerful men like the Russell Simmons and the Diddys of the world just use their power to coerce women.
Right.
So men are victims too, but they have an insecurity, which is why they're letting it play out. So if you don't want to be a victim anymore, you got to be helping by saying, yeah, we were taught this, but this isn't the right way to go about this. This isn't a good look anymore. We have to condemn ourselves and then go moving forward. This is how we help everybody, because we don't want these things that happen in our community. We don't want people to get broken down and be ashamed and embarrassed. We didn't make her feel embarrassed and ashamed, but nobody was even allowed to make fun of her. You know what I mean? We wasn't allowed to gossip on that. You know what I'm saying? We had a serious black principle. We had a serious thing where it's like, we're going to love her. We're going to pray over her. And we're not going to make her feel bad about doing something that she wasn't supposed to be doing. Because how would you know? Everybody could do something bad and they deserve to be honored and loved still. But that comes with us finding out why this is happening in our community. And that gets deeper. It's like these things are happening more in the black community. It is so normal to constantly see male coercion and sex, you know, in the black community. More black women are coerced into sex than anybody else. And then they shoot our self-esteem through the fucking floor. I mean, it's just, you know, we getting the worst aspects of this in our community. So we have to figure out how we all can become better so we can stop this sex going on. It's way too much sex. It's sex to feel better about yourself, and you can never feel better about yourself through anybody but yourself and the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to have to feel better about yourself because what you do every day, how you treat yourself and how you wake up and how you get on your goals. And
True
if you
that.
need help, you call on Jesus.
True that.
But
True that.
even that cannot give you pure self-esteem. Because there's a lot of people that believe in Jesus that do all types of stuff because they don't have the confidence in themselves. So it's not just Jesus you need. You need to figure out yourself.
So high self-esteem is about believing in your deepest self.
Yeah. And just about knowing that your light inside is the thing you're offering. And your light is your pure, authentic self doing your said mission. And you're offering that more than you're offering your beauty, more than you're offering the way you look, more than you're offering your wealth. You're offering your energy and your actual purpose. And having a boyfriend or a husband is not going to give you self-esteem. It actually, if you don't have self-esteem, it's going to give you
Make
worse
it worse.
self-esteem. So when you
Mm-hmm.
try to get self-esteem through others, you actually end up getting lowered self-esteem. And another aspect that people aren't talking about because they don't know is that Cassie caught those STDs while she was doing this. STDs are spiritual attacks that even lower your self-esteem. And we'll talk about this down the line in the future, just about how
Mm-hmm.
domestic violence is always related to STDs. And I found this out spiritually, you guys. Every time I would see a domestic violence case spiritually, it's usually a STD involved. When women are allowing themselves to get beaten, it's because they have lost all of their worth. And you lose a lot of your worth when you get an STD attached to your spirit. Luckily, you can get rid of STDs because of Jesus Christ, but also because of your real brother Yaki, you can become whole and healthy. But when people are also battling those are also esoteric beings that are attached to them and that are operating through them and giving them even lower self-esteem. This is why sex can create so much low self-esteem in people, you know, because you don't
It
even
gets
know
deep.
you're attaching demons to yourself now that are telling you, yeah, you're not shit. You're not even pretty. Go have sex. And those STDs make you want to have sex a little more, make you want to please people sexually because those STDs, like as you guys know, all parasites want to find another host. So I always remember that. A lot of times people don't know, like, why is that girl so pretty and she's getting her ass whipped? You don't even know that nigga gave her STD. It gets deep, y'all. It gets deep,
It's
and
deep.
that's why you can't be judging people because you don't know why they with that person, and they don't even know why. But they rather get killed. Like her friend said she was at the point where she rather get killed by Diddy, because probably in your mind, what Cassie's going through is like nobody's gonna want me after this. The best I can be now. That's what the STD's telling her. That's what Diddy's telling her. Her mind, she has lost her mind at that point. You know what I mean? When your self esteem is that shot, you feel like you can't even leave. And now you're just used to getting your ass whooped every day. You have lost all sense of yourself. And that's why she feels like she was forced, because looking back, she don't know where her mind was. She was on drugs. He was drugging her up. So now she's getting the spirits from the drugs. She's getting the spirits talking to her through the STDs. She's getting the spirit from Diddy. It's like she have no control over her vessel. And we've seen this with a lot of celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Britney Spears. Before you know it, you have lost control of your vessel. And now she's gaining her control. She don't feel like it was her, any of it. And Uriel has a video on that about how, like, it actually isn't you, but you
They
allowed
were.
them to host you. So it's like, people do something bad and be like, it's not me, because it wasn't you,
Mm-hmm.
but you gave those demons permission to operate through you to fulfill their mission to destroy you, because they did it in your vessel. So now you're destroyed to the public. But you don't have to be destroyed. Through Jesus, through yourself, and through the light of the Lord, you can become whole again. You can shake off the STDs. You can go watch Brother Yaki awaken. There's resources left and right. You know what I mean? To heal yourself mentally from all these mental prisons and beings and entities that have attached themselves to you. They're telling you not shit. There's no need to feel worthless. We got the resources now, and people are going to be like, oh, you people can't get rid of STDs. And you guys are going to tell me Jesus walked the earth and didn't create miracles. Anything's possible. Health is a given. Like, that's the easiest thing to manifest. Any of your God-given rights are always easiest to manifest. And health is actually the first one because you're born healthy. But that's the easy thing you can ask for the Lord. And the Lord will tell you how to have health. Now, a lot of people get illnesses and diseases and die because they actually want to die. They're manifesting death. But if you want to be healthy and you want to set new life, you can actually look for information on anything. Like, the Lord makes no exceptions to healing except your mind, except if you want it.
If you believe with just the faith of a
A
grape
mustard
seed,
seed. Yeah.
mustard seed, you can
Yeah.
move a mountain.
And you just got to ask Jesus. Jesus can heal anything. That ain't shit. Your little sickness ain't shit to God. Whatever you're going through ain't shit, but you have to put your trust back in the highest power, in the Lord. And that's what's crazy too, is knowing that Cassie is Gabriel, because she's
Mm-hmm.
Jesus's kids. It's like, damn, Diddy out here abusing all of Jesus's kids.
Literally. And then eating them.
Yeah. the, the Obama ecstasy pills I heard about. Like, what's going on with all that? And then he had a Gabriel assistant, David. He had everybody Gabriel working for him, running his
Kim
operation
Porter.
to make him look good. Kim Porter, David the assistant, and Cassie, and eating Obama ecstasies. He was having the whole family,
Why is a
the whole family work for him. Make it. Yeah, I was gonna say the next aspect is,
That's weird.
yeah, the next aspect is, Oh, what was I gonna say? We're talking a little bit about Gabriel, but it was something else about Diddy. Hmm. Hmm. There's so many things. What's the next aspect, Drika, of this case you want to get into?
The next aspect, oh my gosh, it's so many aspects. We're gonna be here all night.
Yeah,
Well, I
did
guess a good one to be to address that I thought, speaking of community, is people are like, well, you're saying like, people are supposed to, we should be helping each other, like keeping each other as a community, supporting each other. But then the whole talk is kind of like, well, I don't really want to, like, I guess I don't know the word I'm looking for. I'm getting brain. Well, basically, people are saying like she got money and different, different things for being able to sit there and do that versus other people who did not. And so people are feeling like, well, I don't feel bad for her.
oh, because she got 30 million.
Right. So it's
And that
like, well,
and you know what too? That's like a definite thing that I was thinking about. You know, there's all those. I didn't mean to cut you off, Dreek. You have something else to say?
no,
Okay,
you can
sorry,
go.
because I had a little download. Um,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it reminds me of all those memes where people like, "Would you do this for 30 million?" You know, that was the price. Like she got the money, and that was the price. That was the cost of it. That was the cost of the 30 million. Was all that crazy stuff. It's not
Yeah.
really like I think that people are desensitized when people have money, which to me
Right.
is like not real because they're still beings with something to offer. I'm not desensitized to something. I don't value people on money. You know, every soul needs to evolve. Even demons need to evolve. And just right now, the best way for Diddy to evolve would be to go to jail. You know what I mean? The best way
Mm-hmm.
Cassie's gonna evolve is through us loving her and helping her get better awareness with how she participated and for her to start acknowledging how she participated in things even though she didn't know the price. And that's what people get angry about. She's angry, and people that are victims are angry because they don't know how they involved themselves, and they don't want to take
Mm-hmm.
accountability because accountability means that they were wrong too. Nobody wants to be wrong. The
We
devil
talk
don't
about
want
that
to be
all the
wrong. He
time.
don't even like taking accountability. But when we play the role, what you say? What you say, Drake?
I said, yeah, we talk about that all the time. Like not wanting to be wrong. I hate being wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not fun to be wrong because it's like, damn, I did this. It reminds me of like when Abraham Hicks was like, people hear about law of attraction and they're like, well, I wouldn't have manifest all these things. And it's like, it's not really working like that. Like the people that are victims of this level of abuse, like I wouldn't have wanted any of this stuff. But we're not saying that you did. It's just you opened up a portal to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I know
That's
people that
all it
have
was.
kids that didn't want kids, but they had sex and the condom broke. And now they're upset with the guy. And I told him, I'm like, how are you upset with the guy when he was the only one protecting themselves? You didn't even wear him on birth control. So how could you be upset about getting pregnant when he took he's the one who should be mad. She's blaming it on him. And I'm like, he's actually the one who should be mad because
Mm-hmm.
he protected himself and you didn't. And then
He
you didn't
gave
even
the
and the
sacrifice.
reason why she couldn't get an abortion is because she didn't get a pregnancy test until 5 months. So it was too late. And she was mad at him for that too. So the whole time you went through a whole experience that you created because you were a woman that not only you were okay with the idea of abortion, but you didn't even you took a plan B and you didn't even check if you were pregnant. But you're mad at this guy because you didn't want kids, but you participated in sex. So it's like you're not manifesting what you want. You're manifesting what you're opening yourself up to. I tell people this all the time. You manifest what you open yourself up to. And the more you're not taking accountability, the work, like if she would take accountability in the beginning when the condom broke, she would have been better off. But she kept not
Mm-hmm.
lacking accountability, which is why her situation got worse and worse and worse. So she couldn't even take accountability through it to figure out, okay, let me go get a pregnancy test. Let me take some action here. In Cassie's case, she was too abused. She was too abused at that point to even be able to do it. Once somebody's beating on you all the time, and you have these STD, and you slept with all these men that you didn't want to sleep with, you did all these things, you hate yourself even more. Like, the thing is, it's like I said, if she was not I think normal, but like a regular Hollywood girl, she would have probably had sex and threesomes with other girls, and it wouldn't have been as deep of a scar. Because more people have done that. When you do things that have never been done in that level, you're gonna feel worse. Because now you're also alone. You're isolated. The beatings you took is way more extreme. You did the most extreme stuff. Nobody, like people are using her as the lowest thing. We were just talking about her being Jesus's kids and just that aspect too. But yeah, I think money does make people less sensitive to these topics, but it shouldn't, because it's not really about like the aspect. It wasn't even the money that she wanted. She wanted the power and the stability that Diddy had mentally, the insecure wise. So the money, like some people, like you could tell she wanted a career. You know what I mean? More than even the money. She liked, I seen those videos of her talking about going to the dance studio and like getting all excited and like just jazzed up about stuff. And that all lost. So yeah. But just the fact that like Diddy has done all these crazy evil things for so long, and people are still upholding him, because now they're just like, well, it's technically he shouldn't be found guilty for this and that. You know, somebody like Diddy, like, okay, let's say you are a person that feels like Diddy shouldn't go to jail because you don't believe it's a RICO. But why are you walking around with a free Diddy shirt? Diddy's one of the worst people. Like, he killed Tupac, allegedly. Let's talk about this. He took somebody who was one of the most positive influence. We talk about community. Tupac was one of the most positive influences in the rap community ever. And you took him from us. And what influence has Diddy had in the fucking world? What is the Diddy party? What has he influenced us? He's influenced us negatively. Every adult celebrity should be looking at themselves, because they gave us a terrible culture to grow up within. Every song was about being freaky. Every song was about promiscuity. Every song was about something slutty, partying. It was all a bad influence. So I don't want to hear from none of these adult celebrities, because y'all sent us the hell too. But somebody like Tupac that you stole from us, and you walk around with a free fucking Diddy t-shirt, one of the few positive influences in rap ever, and you want to walk around with a free Diddy, man? Fuck Diddy.
Literally, like,
fuck Diddy.
you saw people with those shirts on?
Yeah, people talking about free Diddy. Like, people in the comments, free Diddy. For what? So we can influence us more to go to hell? Like, he needs to learn his lessons. I could see more you don't really care, but don't sit around talking about some free Diddy. Diddy's been a horrible influence.
Mm-hmm. The guy, David James said that. I think that's his name. David James said that in the thing. He was like, he mentioned that, yeah, he like admired his, his business goals and how he was maneuvering different things like that. And then I guess like his lawyer was like, oh yeah, like he's a good person, he's gracious, and he's like, no, I would say he was the furthest thing from gracious.
Yeah.
Like, you can separate the two and then also be like, no, he's actually not a good person and not a good influence. And I completely agree with that, because we saw Making the Band back in the day, and that was a really long time ago, and people were kind of like all off the rail about how he was making people walk to, what was it, like the city to get cheesecake, like that had anything to do with making a band.
It was always about abusing
like,
power.
Right. Like, what did that have to do with it?
Which is why I know that Cassie was into it, because she had an insecurity around power, because power is what Diddy likes to play with. That's his demonic entity of choice, is power. Everything's a power trip for Diddy. Even him being able to beat her up that much. It's all constant power trips. And like, he showed us on TV like how to pretty much mentally abuse people, how to like manipulate power. Like, who would want to work for somebody like Diddy? Okay, you feel like Diddy shouldn't go to jail because it's a RICO, but to walk around acting like Diddy shouldn't be in jail, Diddy never did no time for all the crimes he's committed. Can you hear me?
Audio. Hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my AirPods died.
Wow. But yeah, to me, I just can't even like see how somebody could care about Diddy. Like people have to go to jail sometimes because they've done too much stuff out of alignment. And now is Diddy's time, his first time to actually have to deal with anything, any of his actions. People are just saying, well, she wasn't forced, but coercion's a part of it. I don't really know how it's going to play out. Like I said, if he gets away with it, then it's like, okay, he went about being a demon the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because demons are here to teach us things. So that's why they get away with so much, because they're here to do bad. Like David said, he's not gracious, he's not a good person, but he's a businessman. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna get into just a lot of the Gabriels dating tarot and why, and what that's all about. I'm joking. I think you guys having that obsession with dating somebody with money, like
Yeah.
thinking that somebody with money is gonna help you, and this should be a telltale to all these people that push that. If you date a guy with money, you're gonna have this great life. We're not seeing that, and it's the opposite. If you create money, you're gonna have a great life because your life's up to you. And they teach women like, well, you're supposed to do it the smart way. You're supposed to be making your business and do. When you date men with that kind of money, they don't let you make no business. You under them. You know what I
It's
mean? Like
part of
all
the
this
planning.
stuff is what women lie to other women about. Like there isn't this world where you're just fully gonna get over on a rich man.
It goes back to that community talk you were just referencing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a community by telling other women lies that you know don't exist.
Yes, it's not a good community because it's like, I've been around so many men with money. They're not, if they got all that money, how could they be so dumb? Like Diddy has so much money, he know how to fuck people over way better than Shira Seven. He been doing it forever in all kind of business contracts. You're not equipped to deal with a man like that. Well, you think you got your little internet game and you about to go and you about to make your empire on the side. What woman does that? What woman has been with a multi-millionaire and built an empire on the side and became their own thing? They were either already doing their own thing or they got money from the divorce or something like that. But usually they just get money from the divorce 9 times out of 10 because most men with money don't want their woman having a job. If they're dating women like that, you know what I'm saying? If they're dating a woman for those purposes, they're not looking for a woman to be working around them. They're looking for a woman to be under them. If they're gonna fall for that concept, or they're using money to manipulate, which Diddy was. And
Yeah.
if you try to do that with him, he wouldn't even want you anyways. So, to know that Kim Porter, who's Gabriel, and Cassie's Gabriel, and he probably had some other girls around, it's sad because angels, it's a great example of angels upholding hell, right? Like we're being the ones that are upholding all of these crazy practices and giving demons all this power. And people respect Kim Porter. And it's like, I think she's very beautiful, but I just can't respect this idea of her being with Diddy. Like, why do we respect Kim Porter when she was with a monster? Right? Outside of her being Gabriel, what is she really holding up to the world, to the community? She was one of Diddy's 5 girlfriends. I think most of us at the time thought that he was just dealing with Cassie. Right? That's what I was under. I didn't know he was dealing with all of them all the time like this.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of like a back and forth of some sort, maybe, but I wasn't aware
I
of him
thought
having
that was
5.
done. You know what I mean? Because
So
Kim
they were still
Porter
together
upheld
at the
that
same
same
time.
concept. What do you say?
They were still together. He was with both of them rather at the same time.
Yeah, and 3
There
other
was
women.
overlap.
And all at
Oh,
the same time. Because David on the stand said when he started working for Diddy, he had 5 girlfriends. Cassie and Kim, and I don't know the other girl's name, Yana and some other girls, right? And they were his girlfriends at the time. Like, why are we upholding this as good? Like, obviously, Kim Porter is very pretty. Maybe that's why we're upholding it. But and obviously she's an angel, so that's why. But this isn't something we should be upholding. Like, these aren't healthy things to show women that okay, we're just gonna stay around relationships, or when we date, like, it's the whole thing of a rich man's providing everything, so you're just there for this. And because she's so pretty and such a good energy, we have deemed her like very high. But what she was doing is actually bad because she's upholding Diddy. If he didn't have somebody like Kim Porter around, he would look more like the demon he is. If he didn't have a Cassie around, he would have looked worse. Like, that's what made him look good, are these little angels he carried with him. Oh, Kim Porter's my soulmate. Like, don't say that. You didn't even marry her.
Exactly.
Like, it's such BS. Everything Diddy's talking about to me is BS because it's like, what's the actions behind it? Men say that to gain strength in the community. I think people liked Diddy and Kim together because they're both dark-skinned African Americans. I think it gave people the idea of a sense of community. We fall for this shit all the time in the culture. Oh, he's with a beautiful dark-skinned woman and he's dark-skinned. This is black love. This is literally the worst thing for black people to see. These aren't real households. These aren't solid relationships. There's abuse involved. There's sex trafficking involved. There's manipulation. There's coercion involved. And at the end, what happened to Kim? Apparently, allegedly, we don't even know what happened to Kim. So where did all this lead? You know what I'm saying? Like, now you look at it like, why are we upholding this? Because we uphold it based on the image. Two black people that are rich together. Very pretty woman, very wealthy man. Those basic images give people hope in their culture and in their community, but there's no substance there. And what's crazy is people be tearing down Barack and Michelle all the time. And I've seen people uplift Kim and Diddy all the time. Like, that was his soulmate. You know what I'm talking about? People be tearing down. It's like, we say?
I said, that's a really good example.
Yeah, people be tearing down Michelle and Barack all the time on my timeline. And it's like they're way closer to the sun than Kim and Diddy. No relation. No, we don't have a lot of these perfect relationships on Earth at the moment yet. We are going to be having them.
Diddy knows. That's why he's eating.
Yeah. But our communities, our self-esteem is so low. I feel like in the black community that when black women have seen black women with black men, it's always seen as positive, no matter the circumstance.
Especially if they have money.
And especially if the woman's dark skinned too. Let's be for real. I feel like if Kim was light skinned, nobody would care. Right? Because I feel like that's
probably
to me.
Less.
I feel like to me, she represents like he likes black women. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I feel like he used Kim to secure that image in our community.
Right.
Like having a beautiful dark-skinned wife, like not wife. See, it always makes it's like an idea of like this is his beautiful dark-skinned wife, and he's like super into black women and the black culture, but it was just for an image. Because if you guys don't know, tarot is all about image. So like they use different women for different things. Kim Porter was just being used as the face of black love. Whenever he wanted to seem like he was a family guy and he was into the black community and he loves black women and he has a good black woman, he's with Kim Porter. Whenever he wanted to feel hot and feisty and like a young dude dating somebody hot and young, he was dating Cassie. Now he did that with Carisha. So I feel like he operates in that. And I feel like we didn't have a lot of dark-skinned women growing up, like as like, you know, beautiful, positive role models. So I think that's why the Kim Porter thing got elevated even more. Because I feel like if she was light skinned, it wouldn't have mattered as much because we had so many light skinned women in the media. We had Halle Berry, Aaliyah. We have so many that like Kim Porter is so beautiful and she's black. So it's like it stands out to us. And it kind of is like, okay, yeah, this is black love.
Black love.
But it's like she never even got married to Diddy. And, you know, if he's abusing everybody around him, I'm sure he abused her. So you see how these things are images and demons are aware of all these images and they know how to create them. Like, remember, like when all of a sudden, like these things about light skin and dark skin popped up on the timeline and all of a sudden all these like white guys are online talking about, oh, I love dark skinned women. Or when it's light skinned women, it's like, oh, I love, you know, people play into these things because they feel you have an insecurity. So now they're like, I even seen light skinned women get on there going, oh, I would love to be with a dark skinned woman when light skinned women were under attack to form fake bonds with dark skinned women. This is why we got to get out all this skin tone BS, all this physicality BS, and start with the fucking spirit. because it's like you can't make a connection off of a fucking skin tone. But at the same time, like I said, because that representation lacked, I feel like Kim Porter, Kelly Rowland, you know what I'm saying? It's like the same turntable of dark skinned women because they weren't offered as much representation growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Robin Givens, it was like a small circle of women that we constantly saw. So I think we latched onto that. The same way they make you latch on to any black person ever. It's like you gotta latch on to this. We don't see this every day.
Yeah, it's
Latch
like,
on.
mm-mm.
So it's important to note that too. It's like, well, why did we really support Kim Porter? Obviously, I like her because she's Gabriel, so I like her energy and her vibe, but I don't like what she did with her life. I feel like she deserved to be married. I feel like she deserved the self-esteem to actually have a husband in a marriage in a real life, other than being with Diddy here and there or whatever crumbs he gave her. Like she's way above that to me. So I don't approve of that. And guess what? Cassie got 30 million and Kim don't have a life no more. So it's like, what did we really get out of all this black love?
Enough said.
Like, what did we get out of black love?
Terrible.
My soulmate. And that's what pissed Cassie off too, because she had been doing all those freak offs for like 11 years. And he
Yeah.
like get on and say,
His soulmate.
it's my soulmate. It'd be like if if I win an award and I bring some other random virtue like this.
Like, you know what? I'm going to blast her.
Right. Michaela,
Yeah.
my best friend from middle school, that was my best virtue.
Yeah, that's definitely upsetting.
Yeah, that's
Because
upsetting.
I'm like, she has the right to go out and also moving back to that, because that made it come back to me. I be getting like a brain sometimes, but how did this lawsuit get placed? Like, who's behind? Why is it the United States? Someone mentioned syrup. Is that just?
You know what's crazy is I was Diddy's 50 under 50. I went to like a party, but luckily he wasn't there. It was like just for young influencers. Can you hear me?
You were at
50 under 50. Now I'm like, shit, I left early. I came through the red carpet. I seen Keke Palmer and I left. Thankfully.
I'm glad.
Thankfully. It was just his sons in there. It wasn't nobody in there. He didn't go. Praise the Lord. He's probably having a freak off. He didn't have time for that.
My gosh.
Yeah, so
United States versus Diddy. When did the United States
yeah.
So maybe it is something. Do you think that they were, because I really wasn't following the story previously. Is it someone trying to like, I know we talked about the karma and all of that, which I'm sure of, but is there someone else that is trying to like help push this out?
Maybe it could be the angelic spirit families. Because it's like one of them's working for the US, then they might infiltrate that way. So I definitely don't think Tarot's behind it. But they're trying to make the case of that this is abuse and he's using his business to contribute this abuse, which is true because yeah, he having Cassie and all these people do it, but he's paying for all this. He's the one that's operating the show. He's coming up with the ideas for them to do and just making them go out and do it so they can take the blame. So nobody can be blamed. But then when you start thinking about him, like all the beatings, how she couldn't have a phone, how she couldn't leave, she couldn't have access to her passport, to her keys, and he's using Bad Boy to do all this. What do you say?
Someone was saying making her feel like a kid, and I agree.
Yeah, making her feel like she's a kid.
Another form of abuse, like
belittling, like
yeah,
belittling you. I think he had all his women like that based around the money. And like, I think we thought that he was done with Kim Porter when he got with Cassie. That's what I'm saying. He played it to the public, a very different story. It looked like Cassie to me was happy with this being his girlfriend, and they were just in like a relationship, and she gave up her career to be with his girlfriend, versus like she was manipulated into doing that, and she wanted a career. And I thought he was done messing with Kim Porter, but he would go to Kim probably whenever he got tired of Cassie, and then go to Gina whenever he got tired of Kim, and then go to Yana whenever he got tired of Janet, and then whoever, you know what I mean? So he was just playing everybody real good because he used his money, wealth, and power to do it. But the last thing I want to talk a little bit about is her relationship with Alex Fine, because this is another thing I told Drika when I first saw him. He looks very sad. I don't believe this relationship is in a good, healthy place, just because you can't jump from severe trauma and abuse to marriage and a baby.
When you showed me him a long time ago, I was
Mhm.
like, I didn't really like, I noticed it, but not really. And now looking like actually, at the photos, they both look very sad. Like
Yes.
something is weighing on them.
Yes, there's a sadness to both of them. And I feel like from what I know is that his mom was a survivor of domestic abuse. So
Hmm.
in my head, I feel like he is playing the savior that he couldn't be for his mom, for Cassie. So he's insecure about not being able to save his mom. So to fix his insecurity in himself, he's saving Cassie. Even though he said Cassie can only save herself, but he's helping herself save himself herself. Or he's still playing that role, whether he wants to admit it or not, as a quick save. Like after all this, she ran right to you, because there's no way you could go through all that and go get married and have a baby. She hasn't even processed it mentally why she did all this, right?
No,
She
I
hasn't
would say so.
processed it.
'Cause I mean, I remember hearing that, the breakup, the split, it was like this big discourse. And then kind of like shortly later, hearing that she was married, having children, it kind of happened all pretty quick. And now that we're figuring out, what actually happened behind the scenes, yeah, that's really traumatic to go through. And then have a full relationship with children so quickly.
Cause it's almost like they're moving fast. Like Cassie's moving fast to like kind of wash it all up, but you can't wash it up with a new relationship. You have to wash it up with a new self-awareness and a new form of self. It's how you wash it down. It's how you get the purity. You get the purity in the water from heaven. And Jesus, when you actually come to awareness of what happened to you, take your little bit of accountability and start healing and growing from it. She's still in a mourning stage. She's still in the anger with Diddy. She's still not even over it. And then it's like, I also don't approve of her cheating on her now boyfriend or husband. It's like nobody's supposed to love you through you not being a solid individual. Like she wasn't ready for love because she didn't love herself, but now she's using Alex's love for her to build up her self-esteem. So now she has a pattern of dating to fix her self-esteem. I'm happy that they're both angels and it's like that's positive, but I don't feel like Alex has a good self-esteem either, because nobody wants to be with somebody that has cheated on them. Even if he has a lot of understanding because of abuse, but he still doesn't have the understanding of the role that they played, because he doesn't want to see his mom in a negative light. However, he doesn't want to see his mom as making bad decisions to be with an abuser. So because of that, he's just they're in the full victim versus the balance of it all. You're a victim, but that doesn't mean you have to like let that be the whole identity. You still have to have the acknowledgement of what happened.
What about the people talking about the friend and I guess, like the level of nobody helping her?
Like nobody helping Cassie.
Right. People were like, the friend kind of stepped up, said her testimony on what happened. She was no longer in contact with her. And then the whole thing about, no one was there saying anything or stepping in, and they knew
Yeah.
what was going on.
Yeah, I think everybody's seen people be in abusive relationships and we don't really do anything, because at the end of the day, it's one of those things where honestly, a lot of times you get a negative reaction from these people. That's what happened to the friend when she actually wanted to go and file a, get a lawyer against Diddy because he hit her. Cassie told her not to, and that she was overreacting, and that's how they stopped being friends. And she drew a line at like the violence and at the fact that Cassie's not, mentally there, because at that point she was protecting the person that's abusing her. And everybody around Diddy was. Kim Porter's protecting him, his first baby mom, like all these women is protecting him. by just upholding him and still dealing with him in whatever way they're doing it. So I think, okay, like, first of all, the friend probably didn't feel comfortable calling the police, so she was calling the bodyguards to help. And then, because it's like, if she called the police, they could deny it and flip it on her. You know what I'm saying? So, because he's so powerful too, it's like, call the police on Diddy. By the time they get to the door, they might beat you up or send a hit on you. You don't know, because like based around how he's beating up Cassie and stuff, you don't really know what could happen to you if you call the police on him. So I don't think it's always the friend's job or a family member's job, because sometimes there's nothing you can really do when somebody's whole life is wrapped into Diddy. Like her money, her everything. She had nothing on her own at that point. So she didn't have the wherewithal to know how to leave. And I didn't like how they try to blame the family either. It's like people send their kids to college at 18 in a whole different state. The parents don't know what's going on. You see all the time in the movies. It's like parents only know what you're telling them. So she started finding out, but you can't really do anything. And also you're dealing with a powerful man. Like at that point, Cassie would have needed to ask them for help. It's like with any kind of advice. If you see somebody that does something, they have to come to you and then you can give like the help. But you can't really be the person. They have to be more proactive about saving themselves. And that goes into Lord and Savior, and you becoming your own savior, but using the Lord and Savior to help you. I'm like, where was Jesus during this? Because she's still not talking about Jesus. She still hasn't talked about Jesus.
Right, like that spiritual awareness. Maybe that's what she's missing.
She is missing spirituality for sure. She's missing the spiritual.
She hasn't went down the spiritual. We always joke about this, but it's like we always be like, if you haven't like went down the spiritual pipeline at some point over the last 10 years, it's like, where were you?
Yeah,
because it was huge. It was everywhere. It's like you had to have got into something or come across something, like whether it was crystals or tarot readings or just something, because it was everywhere.
Well, I'm thinking that, but also it's kind of like, but Cassie lacks spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
She lacks a spirituality. And when you lack your spirituality as a woman, you lack so much, because a woman has to be more spiritual than anybody, because you're an energy. So it's like her lacking that spirituality is really harming her. But the other aspect, people are like, oh, they couldn't date a woman with a past like Cassie. I don't really care to get into that too much, because it's like you don't know his past. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, who knows what he's done? Or like, like I say, you never know why people is with people.
Not to mention that everybody is a sinner.
Exactly.
And is guilty of something.
Exactly.
So...
Exactly. And some people what's his name? Alex Fine isn't getting his self-esteem based around other men. He's basing it on like being a savior and how helping he is to the world. So that's where he's going wrong, because he has to focus on saving himself, because he's not protecting himself from somebody who could be harmful to him, because she's already shown you that she isn't loyal to you. That's where I'm drawing the line. I'm not talking about her past, because everybody has a past and everybody's a sinner. That doesn't mean that she still can't have a great outcome. Some people do terrible things, but they get right with the Lord and right with themselves, and then they end up with a good life. It's about if you actually want to walk the righteous path and be healed and be new and become clean and become a good person. And she's not ready for that based around everything I've seen, but I'm not here to get into somebody's past. Like Drika said, everybody sinned, and to the eyes of heaven, nobody cares what kind of sin it was. Nobody's going to go, oh, well, you all the way down here. You know what I mean? In terms of if you want to become good. Yes, there is times where you got to go on that scale and your stuff is heavier. You know what I'm saying? You got to be charged with more karmically. But Cassie's getting all her karma. She's getting the public judgment. She's getting more shame, more ridicule. She's getting all of it. And I wanted to wrap this up at the end with, we talk about Gabriel being sacrificial, and this is another aspect of it, because she's becoming sacrificial as a teaching the woman of what not to do. Like she's been a sacrifice on like what happens when we fall victim to these things in the world. What do you say?
So many aspects. She's
so many aspects, like a victim of being beautiful, a victim of the culture, a victim of Diddy. Like she's so many things that everybody wants, to be the most beautiful girl in the room. You know what I mean? Where did that get Cassie? A one-way ticket to hell. Like everything that Cassie had going for herself at the same time got used against her. Because if you don't know how to maneuver, which most people don't in this really demonic world, it all comes to crashing down. So, yeah, I mean, I think people just like to be able to be a judge because they themselves feel like they're not shit. I mean, judging people is one of those big forms of insecurity because it's just like you have to feel good by putting other people down. That's why judgment is a sin, because it's just a sin is being insecure. So when you're judging people, you're just saying, I'm better. You know, there's no point of me judging Cassie because I had nothing but love for Cassie. I can't wait till she gets into her spiritual aspect and she gets resolved and becomes anew. It's like, it ain't for me. It's not about, life isn't about judging. It's about just the truth and how it can all help us evolve, become better, and create a better community where we hold each other more accountable and become better. Even Diddy, I want Diddy to go to jail so we can become better. If he's out on the streets, that's not going to help his soul evolve. And Gene Deal did a lot of videos on Diddy and like all the stuff he's done. It's like, somebody like this, you should be ashamed to walk around with a free Diddy shirt. This isn't somebody that needs to be out in the public. He's committed severe crimes. And hopefully they're going to get into all his alleged killings because he definitely used his corporations to do those things. And he's definitely used his power and his money and his corporation to get away with a lot of stuff. Another big incriminating email was the one that he sent, that Cassie, when Cassie sent the mom the email, and Cassie said that he was going to harm her and it wasn't going to be by his hands, but he would be out the country when it happened. Mm-hmm. That is also saying you're going to kill her, you know? So he does have a lot of things in severe abuse and severe coercion that he's using money and power to do. And he took, like, I do believe that, like, it's like I said earlier, women in society are a reflection of the man, and the man's side is a reflection of the woman. So the woman's insecurities, right? So it's like everybody has to take some accountability. But when we get even closer with Diddy and Cassie, like, she learned all that from Diddy. Like, what type of person will want a woman that represents them in the world? Not even that, not represent them, but that they are feeling they're supposed to be bonded with and show up together to be putting them through that. How much insecure is Diddy to, instead of just going about having gay sex, he got to have a woman be literally sexed by men to the point where she can't breathe, where she's sick, where her body's aching, where she has sores, where she can't function, where she has no self-esteem, all because you don't want to accept the fact that you're gay. This is what insecurities do. A lot of men put women through harm based around not wanting to deal with who they are. But most men are using, I mean, and there's not all men are doing it because they're gay. You got men that use women for self-esteem. How many women they can have sex with is going to make them feel good about themselves. You got men who do this in all different realms and realities. I'm just using the Diddy example. But it starts with us showing up as real people and real representatives of heaven on earth, which is being whole, understanding how we got into things. Because Cassie still can't take full, it's not about accountability. It's the awareness of how you got into it. Because some things that you do, you're not really, it's not about being accountable, like for all this stuff that has gone on. It's just understanding how you got involved in the first place. Because like you can't really take accountability all the way for everything because you didn't have that idea. You just went along with somebody else's stuff. So you got to take accountability for what you went along with, for the part that you played, but not for the whole thing. Because that's how you get too much weight on you. Because it's like not all isn't you. It's like some people, you get abused as a kid, then you get all these behaviors, and then you spent your whole life trying. You can't take accountability for all that. Because you were, there's certain parts of it that's out of your control. You take accountability for how it took you, because you pretty much, the reason why you're taking accountability is because you want to evolve. So you just focus on what you made mistakes with so you can evolve, not the whole situation. That's too much weight because you can't fix all that because you didn't do all those things. But yeah, we'll see what happens next, and we'll definitely update you guys on this case. and we're definitely gonna make the new videos this coming week. But pray for Cassie, pray for Alex, and let's pray that Diddy evolves too, because it's like if demons is this out of control on Earth, is because angels let it happen. So we have to do better, and I don't have nothing else to say.
Who else do you think they call into the stand next? I'm like 8 weeks.
I don't know. I'm curious what all this stuff is going to be about. Is it just all the sex workers? Are they going to start using other crimes he's committed? Like I don't know what they're all trying to say he's doing.
Tune in next, y'all. I do hope that Casey, will find some sort of spirituality. Just, Jesus, just calling on Jesus.
Yeah. And Jesus going to send her to me.
Exactly.
That's he's going to have me do the dirty work. Jesus going to be like, yeah, we hit up Barachael. She'll
past years ago, and I guess it's time.
Right. And that's what's crazy too, is like just me being me and picking up on things. I picked up on the sadness. I just didn't read into it because I'm not nosy spiritually. Like one thing I don't do is just jump into people's energy. If I pick up you being sad, I'm not going to go into your spirit and see what you're sad about, because that's not my business. I don't believe in that type of stuff. You're not supposed to be spiritually nosy unless it comes to you. Like if at that point I saw Cassie 10 different times, then it would be coming to me. I'm like, wow, you ever have a sign and it keeps repeating? I just saw her once. I remembered that. It always stuck out to me. Wow, she's so pretty and she was so sad and depressed. I literally always remembered that about her. And now hearing all this, I'm like, whoa. But yeah, that is the story.
It's the episode.
Let's see how many more weeks of these freak offs we can handle. This was the most nasty case of all. Probably one of the most nasty
the judge is like, he's ready for it to be over. He gotta be. Gotta be. He wants to go home and have some sort of normal crime. Normal crime for the day. I don't know. But...
After these 8 weeks, you just want to hear about a carjacking or something a little more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a regular killing or robbery. Something that's just a little bit more. And also, it's like all these other aspects of like this a RICO, and then is it a RICO? And this is too much. This whole case is just weird. It's like, but of course, demons don't want Diddy to go down because that's the end of their era. Diddy going down is the end of the demonic era. So yeah. We gotta stop being so desperate for representation in the community that we allow the worst situations to represent us.
That's another thing I mentioned. We didn't mention it. Why? Well, I mean, I guess you kind of did already go into it, insecurity. But we were talking yesterday about how we're like really desperate. Like, why is fame that serious that everybody around him was just allowing this to go on? Like with hopes, like his groups and all of that, with hopes of being a star, but he never really turned any of these previous people into stars. Like,
yeah,
didn't really happen. It kind of all one song and it would fall through.
Yeah, and I was thinking this too, because you know what's so funny? I should have said this earlier, but I've never seen Diddy as an artist, but that's what he's trying to do. I realized that too. Like Diddy wants to be like this big rapper, because while he didn't give any music to Cassie, he was making hit after hit at this time. Like last night, like even though Diddy makes all this music, I didn't realize that he wants us to see him like Tupac or like a Biggie, and that's why he killed them. You know what I'm trying to say? Allegedly. Because like now I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like something about Diddy where I don't connect him as being an artist, even though that's what he wants to be seen as. Like he wants to be seen as this like rapper mogul figure that like is so like glorified. And it's like, I don't see you as that. Even I see you as a business person. And then it's like this weird find out that he wants to be an artist, and that's why he can't let anybody go further than him. Like it's a power play. Like I said, this whole thing's about power, because he doesn't empower people, like give them big careers, because they would be able to go forward and achieve more than him. So he he keeps them close. That way they can't do better than him. Cause like, okay, he lets them have a good album and then that's it. Because at that point, if you have a good 2-3 albums, then you have enough power to do your own thing. And he wants you to be dependent on him as your source. So remember that demons always want to make themselves as gods. So this is how they do it. They make you dependent on their energy to move forward in life versus you being dependent on the higher source. So they want to be the god of the situation. Like in order to have more career, you got to go to Diddy, and then he's not going to do it. What?
Did you hear that bird?
They were agreeing. So that's why demons love worship, why they love fame, because some of the people that I think that some of them are singers, like spiritually, like that's what their calling is. So I don't feel like they know how to navigate this world because you're dealing with all these demons that like want to be God. He wants to be in control of everybody's fates, everybody's destinies. He wants you to need him more than you need yourself, or you need Jesus, or you need any higher being. And this is how they've made themselves into gods, like God in the Bible and all these different gods. People playing these roles down here are just big demons to suck your energy dry because they can't do shit for you. And they actually aren't going to do anything for you, like Jika's saying. Like, they're going to give you the opposite every time. They're just going to use you. And because you're dependent on them, that feeds their high. Mm-hmm. What a lot of people like to call narcissistic supply down here. It's feeding that. It's feeding their supply. So he's using everybody for supply and purposely not helping them because he doesn't want to see anybody bigger than him. And that's why he will go as far as to kill the competition, literally. Like when they say RIP to the competition, this is what a lot of tarots do. They kill Aaliyah, they kill Biggie, they kill anybody that they feel could go further than them. And the other way they can kill you is by making you dependent to them. Like, you should want people to have opportunities outside of you because that's more holy. Like, if we're doing this podcast and Drika gets some gigs, that's actually good. You know what I mean? That's a good thing because she's like creating her own path in the world. You know what I mean? As long as it's not with Diddy and Revolt TV. Wait, I almost fell.
Oh my God.
At least as long as it's not with Diddy. And
Wait, did Diddy try to trip it right now?
Yeah, he did.
No.
He did. I was like, as long as it's not with Diddy, I don't know how I freaking fell out of my chair.
I'm like, wait a minute. Why is she falling over there?
Right. I'm like, as long as it's not with Diddy, he's like, boom, knock me out the chair like he did Cassie friend. But yeah, well, people want to call a narcissist or just a demon. People want to call the victims or just, beings that don't have a high self-esteem that are feeding into these demons, aka the narcissist. You feed them by being insecure, or if you're not insecure, you can't feed them.
I'm a victim of a narcissist.
Right.
That bird, did you see?
That bird mocked again?
As you were saying that, as I started talking, he's like, yeah, I agree.
Right. It's like you want people around you to become more successful because that means you have a good platform. Like Mickey Mouse Club. Think about all the celebrities it makes. It's like if Drika goes on and does fashion and modeling and does more interviews, that's making me look good because it's like, this is a solid platform. Like, this is the right way, versus how Diddy looks at it. It's like, it doesn't look good because at that point, Diddy could have Drika could have her own operation outside of me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, he's looking at it like she could operate in the world without me now. Like, she doesn't need me. But it's like, it's not about needing. It's about collaborating through Christ. It's about collaborating through heaven together. So it's like, we're going to be doing this as long as heaven wants us to. And if it comes to end, that means it's over. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not about this needing. You know what I mean? It's like things are supposed to be natural and coming together through the high. And then that also doesn't mean that we still can't do our show. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's all these ideas that demons have that you can't do this and do that. And you got to worship me, Drake. You got to fucking do my show. You know what I mean? You got to be my fucking virtue. Or else your career is cut. That's how Diddy is. So don't let me catch you on them other interviews. You was doing another spiritual podcast? I can't even say it without laughing. Like, you was on New Life Tools show. You was decoding vampires, but New Life Tools. You know what I mean? It's like, because when you're somebody you really rocking with, I know Drika would already tell me. It's not like she would be like doing these things and like, you know what I mean? Like she wouldn't go on New Life Tools and give them the fresh decode. Like, oh yeah, I forgot to to give her that information.
I forgot. I wasn't.
And there's that aspect too, where people could feel like somebody's doing them dirty, like somebody like Diddy is you blow up and then you know you leave and then you feel like, okay, well, you just make all this money without me. I see how that can happen, but that's actually doesn't really happen when you do people good. You know what I mean? People aren't they're only leaving because you're not shit.
Yeah.
They're not leaving because you're doing them so good. Like nobody leaves when they're getting done good. They only left because you wasn't shit. So it's like you gotta be good just because you need to be good for yourself. But once you're good, you don't got to worry about all these crazy things. Like you're supposed to be supporting people because that's where the Most High needs to take them to help people over there. And that's what being a missionary is. It's by being a servant of the Lord. And Drika is going to have to offer herself in other ways that I can't down the line to help people. Give people more spirituality. I'm not involved. You know what I'm saying? It might be me and Drika is doing this whole thing together forever. I'm just saying, no matter what happens, it will be what the Most High wants.
I gotta go help some other people.
Right. I gotta go be virtuous somewhere else. Get out this fucking library.
The way it's looking right now, I got a few jobs. Is looking right now on the turf. I got a few jobs lined up, so shout outs to everyone who
right. And my best friend in 6th grade was my true virtue. It's like, no.
Wait, what'd you say?
No, he said that Kim Porter was his soulmate after Cassie did all that shit. And then when he got with Carisha, he was talking about Cassie on stage. That's the shit that demons do. It's like whenever they're always letting you know the last person was better than you to keep you in a low self-esteem.
Yeah.
He got with Carisha. Remember when he got on stage at the B? Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
Oh no, I wasn't. I'm not surprised. I didn't know he did that though.
Yeah, he got on stage at the BET Awards, some award show, and was talking about how he loved Cassie and all stuff with Cassie. And it's like he was with Carisha, and then while he was doing things that he never did with Cassie with Carisha, because he wanted. It's just like it's just so much stuff. But Diddy's always doing that. And now he's gonna be with the next bitch talking about how much he loved riding around doing dirty with Carisha.
But you know, people always talk about like a textbook narcissist. It's like, you know, one, you know all of them, you know all the tricks because it's just the same thing, different person, different time of day. Like that's the same thing he did, like you were saying with the previous girl and the previous girl and the next girl and the next person. So it's like, if we know that, then just know how to move with a demon.
It's a knock on your self-esteem for sure. Like when anybody's like, man, I remember my ex-girlfriend or my other friend did this, or it's just a way to like put somebody down because they're not doing what you want them to do or whatever. It could always be different. It could be that, or it could be in his bookshelf is just to do self-esteem. It could be like, maybe I'm just saying, let's say somebody else did it, but it could be a dig because that person made a dig, but it's usually a dig because of something that's been done. But in Diddy's case, just narcissism. So it's just doing it because that's what he does.
Yeah. So I'm like, I mean, just note that for how to move around a demon. Just ignore that.
Yeah.
It's obvious what they're doing.
And it's good to lose people. Like it's good to have self-esteem and say no to things you don't want to do, even when you're going to lose these people and it's going to hurt. But down the line, you're going to be like, damn, I don't even like this person. Like you won't, once you get out of that insecurity, you won't even think about that person anymore. They were all just being used for you to become a better person.
Yeah. When people do stuff like that to me, I get upset. I don't know about you.
With what?
Like you were saying, like, you know, using these little tactics on you, you know, that would make you insecure or any of that, like any of like down talk or any of that will make you keep you in a space. I'm like, Do you get upset?
It all depends on the scenario because, like I said, like it
I guess
depends.
everybody's handling it differently.
It depends. Like with Diddy, it's out of the blue. If I did something and then it reacted to somebody making a jab at me, then I have to realize that I brought that out in that person. Versus with Diddy, it's like he's just doing this. Then that would irritate me. You know what I'm trying to say? But there's difference. It's like if you're doing something that's shady and somebody says like you're being rude and somebody goes further with it, then you have to like take a little accountability. Okay, maybe I started this argument or I was like, in a bad mood. I hadn't had my coffee today. So it depends on the situation for me. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I try to take accountability too, because if it's in close proximity to myself, okay, well, I'm bringing this out in some way. Like something I'm doing is like maybe I'm not watching my tone or maybe I'm just not speaking properly to this person. Sometimes you tell somebody like the truth of something and they take a jab at you. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm just saying in many situations. But in Diddy's case, we know it's the narcissistic way where it's like this person's doing all these tactics to get you lowered, because I'm sure a lot of girls have said things to their boyfriends before that was rude. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're not being a man. You know what I'm trying to say? But those are jabs at self-esteem. But you're saying that because something in you is going on. So I'm just trying to take accountability because sometimes people do it that aren't full-blown narcissists. We always got to have the scale, because there's the Diddy and then there's a regular person that uses these societal things to put somebody down when they're not feeling good about themselves, or they just wanted to manipulate their boyfriend into going and lifting and buying them something. But he didn't buy you something, so now you're not a real man. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like it's so many levels. But yeah, I do get pissed off, especially if it's somebody like a Diddy way where it's constantly uncalled for and you didn't even know where it comes from. The thing with the real demons and the real narcissists is you can't really figure out where it's coming from. Like when he beat up the friend, like he's doing things, he's beating her up. Like you could tell Cassie lived a life on the edge where you don't know where it's coming from. It was interesting because today somebody showed me a case where this guy was in jail with the judge and the police officer, but he didn't know why he was there. Like he didn't know why he got arrested and why he was getting locked up, and he was seeing the judge and he's like, I have no like thing that I did. He was at the park closing his eyes meditating, and the police took him in because he said he fit the description. But apparently when the police walked up to him, he told the police officer that he's feeling uncomfortable and he feels like he's being threatened because like he's literally just meditating at this park. I guess it's in a white area. He's like a regular guy. He's meditating there. And I guess he said when he said that to the police officer got more upset and then locked him up. But the police officer was lying and saying, well, he fit the description of somebody who just like had kidnapped somebody and this and that. But essentially, that's a good example of this whole situation with Diddy and this type of narcissism. It's like it's coming out of nowhere. Like you're literally meditating in the park, and now you're arrested because you told somebody that you're feeling comfortable because you're not doing anything wrong. So that's like Diddy's like the worst aspect of this type of abuse, where it's like chaos magic, where it's like you're literally at the park meditating and you're getting arrested and you're at the judge and they called the police officer out because he was lying, like, oh, he fit this description. No, you locked him up because you assumed he was doing something bad because he was black, and then when you found out he wasn't doing something bad and that he actually had the right to be offended by you, you got upset that he was offended by you, so you locked him up to do a power play because you didn't want to deal with the fact that you were wrong for assuming that in the first place. So the Diddy stuff is like he's coming out of nowhere and now you're locked up in jail and you're like, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't got any paperwork. He's like, he fits the description.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like,
so to me, Diddy is definitely like the most severe case of this type of abuse because it's like literally coming out of nowhere. Like it's not the tone you had with somebody. It's not something that you did. It's literally all him. Like you're not playing a role. The only role you're playing in is dealing with him and being in his proximity is going to get you a form of abuse. Like dealing with him in any way is going to get you into an abusive scenario, essentially. And it's not going to be because of something you did. It's going to be based around his mood and his vibe and what's going on with him and if he's happy with himself and his agenda and his image in the world and all the things about him. It wouldn't be anything that you did. So it's the worst type of abuser.
Literally.
Because like somebody like Chris Brown, he gives me the vibe where he's hitting people in an altercation. Diddy's the real worst type of abuser where it's like you didn't have altercations with this guy. You walked in and he saw something, he slapped you across the head and you have no idea why you're getting hit. Like she was making eggs, Don said, and he just hit her with the griddle or whatever. Stuff like this is like the most extreme versions of being an abuser. Because it's not even a lead up. There's no argument we're having, and it's getting so heated to where, like, okay, this person slapped you, but you said their mama was a bitch and a whore and that you fucked they, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, there's no lead up here, it's like, it's still not good to deal with physical violence and abuse, but usually when you could see where it's coming from, it's like, okay, this makes sense. The worst part of these kind of demons is just like you in your mind don't know why you're getting hit on, so then you start taking it upon yourself.
To figure it out.
Yeah.
No point.
So with me, I think I'm at a point now where I just try to figure out why it's happening and what's going on so I can avoid it and try to take inner accountability. Because there's no point in getting annoyed. It's just like, obviously there's times you have closer proximity to certain demons, like if it's a family member or like Thanksgiving. You know how people go to Thanksgiving and like my grandma was a vampire, so she's always commenting on people's weight. So you have to deal with her narcissistic behavior. You know what I'm trying to say? So sometimes it is annoying because you have to deal with it. An ongoing thing with somebody's like criticizing people's looks or whatever it could be. Sometimes it's out of your control. Like when it comes to family, we have to participate sometimes. Like you're growing up in a household and you got to deal with demons that way. So it's just figuring out ways to like distance yourself, so that way you don't take it on yourself and like have that energy lingering on you. If you're in a place in your life where you have to deal with demons to a certain extent or negative forces. But usually, even if you do, it's because you're trying to learn something to not let it affect you in some way. Or to learn how to disengage or something that you're supposed to be learning from it. So that's just always trying to figure out what you're supposed to be learning from it. And for like Cassie in the situation, she was supposed to be learning not to put Diddy's love for her on a pedestal or not to care about, not to make him her validator. Because that's what her abuser became her validation of like, okay, well, at least even though like I wasted all this time, at least he felt good about it. At least it was noteworthy. And I think she wanted him to know that she hated all that shit. She just did it for him. And she felt like she was being forced into it to obtain him. So yeah. But yeah, demons are for sure annoying. I get more annoyed, I guess, with like their think pieces online, Drika, than like their tactics. Like when they try to put out a think piece that's false, that kind of annoys me because I see how it. What do you say?
I said you're more of a mind, so that will make sense.
Yeah, because it's like for me, I don't like how people start degrading people based off things that aren't true. That because it's powerful. Like we talk about this Cassie thing, everybody online calling her a hoe. That's too degrading.
Like, come on.
Or like, remember when we were kids and everybody said Sierra was a man? Like these are really degrading things to say. I don't like when people spread lies online. That kind of annoy and irritate me because once again, I don't like these forms of abuse that are so strong outside of yourself that you can't control. But once again, I guess that's for a reason for her to learn something, to not care about it. It's just an attack on her womanhood.
You're right.
And it's like it could be somebody saying that you're powerful because people only see men as powerful. So it's just, I more so get irritated by that because what happens is people start talking about these things like it's an actual real thing. Like I was at my job and somebody was telling me, oh, Michelle Obama's a man. Like, no, she's not. And it's like, you don't think people are actually going to latch on to these lies, but they do. And then it's like, now we're living in a world of lies, which is not good to me because it's about living in a world filled with truth.
Yeah, like, my goodness.
Yeah, and we can't attack demons just off being demons because that's their purpose. Their purpose is to abuse us. But our purpose, but we're supposed to be teaching them by showing them that they can't abuse us. Their purpose is to try, and we're supposed to be so secure that they can't do it. And so what demons are doing all this lets you know that we're in a very insecure state because we're allowing them to do whatever they want. But yeah, Egypt's tired. Kobe's tired. They're over here crying. Egypt.
You're like,
They're done with Diddy. But yeah, shout out to everything going on in the world. But yeah, that's the end of the show. We love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will let you guys know when more is coming up. And yeah, certain things we're going to be working on and reshooting, and we'll let you know when that happens. So,
and let us know what you want to see or talk about in the comments below.
Before my cat rudely walked in front. Egypt down. Yeah, let us know what you guys want to see. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Good night.
Good night.